Hey everybody, Royal Alliance UK, Matt, Ant, Ash, we're just setting up and we're going to be getting going on the show in just a moment. Hope you're well. Thank you out of the gate to Jeff Hurley with the $20 super sticker, which says you are amazing. Cheers, Jeff. Appreciate you very, very much. And hello to Lost Oceans on YouTube, because he's had to make the move over to YouTube from Twitch because someone has blocked Twitch on his employer's computer, which is absolutely no fun at all. Why Twitch and not YouTube? I'm really not sure, but there we go. Bradley Mustaine says, Ant-Man in the house! Appreciate all you guys for joining us. It's going to be an open show today. We have no set agenda. We have not prepared anything apart from just a little bit of news in advance. So if you have some questions or some discussion points, get them in. If you want to shout out before we start, come say hi. Boys, how you doing?
Still coming off the roller coaster of sport that was yesterday. The England match, the F1. My heart, man. Couldn't take it too much. Can't take too much more of it.
Yeah, like I said, I've never been so unenthused about an England team, but still wanting them to win so much and lose so much in my life. Like I just don't know how to feel about them at the minute. And yeah, like there's just so many other more exciting teams at these Euros that I prefer to sit and watch rather than our own. I'm bored. It's tedious. It's horrible, and it's like this is our game. This is what I should be excited about. But now, give me the Detroit Lions, not the Three Lions. Right now, we're much more exciting to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a heck of a goal though, and even the second goal was really quite good.
I don't know. It was a deflection, though. Like, it was a deflection. It was a bounce into the ground. I feel like half our goals have come from deflections or missed kicks or something like that. It's what they call death by a thousand cuts. Except, we're getting something out of it at the moment, but it's still horrible.
We have a question from Bradley Mustaine to take off the air about the college football show. He said, I love the CFB show you guys did. Are you going to cover the Big Ten? Now, Bradley, I know for a fact that even though this is the fourth season of the college show and the third season that they are previewing the conferences in advance, and you've never covered Power 4, Power 5 conference yet. However, I think you're more prepared this season, so I think there's an outside chance, right?
I'll do it this year. I should do, because like most of the people who listen to us, it's Big Ten football, whether it be Wolverines, Spartans, etc. So we'll do it this year, and plus it'll be easier because it's a Power 4. There's one less conference to do, and we've already done 3 technically. So yeah, we will do one this year because it'd be nice to do those. So we'll get there, and it'll be nice about Michigan as well. So.
We have a thriving community of Lions fans, but actually a thriving community of college football fans on our Discord. So I've put the link in, but come and join us there to chat about it, because it'd be really good to have you there. But also, Ant is looking for some Q&A and conversation stuff for tomorrow's show, Bradley, with Ryan McCluskey in Japan. So if you have some specific questions about the Big Ten or about college football in general, drop them in the chat here, and we'll get them in the show for tomorrow. Or, well, tomorrow on the audio. It depends whether I'm around tomorrow. I should be able to stream. I might be able to be on the show. I don't know. I promised that last week and I didn't get there.
Well, I'll try and give it a go. Because the last time I streamed, it was actually fine. So I don't know, but I'll give it a go.
We got lots of people in the chat, which is great. Lost Ocean said POD discussed it a bit, but I'd love to hear thoughts on if Iffy is the long-term answer at safety. That's a good question. I have no idea, I'm going to say, by the way, as one of his biggest fans. I haven't got a clue. Daniel G says, hell yes, I'm here. Early, haven't been around in a while due to work, but happy Monday, lads. It is a happy Monday indeed. The Three Lions are in the last 8 of the Euros. I mean, we have scored 3 infinity more goals than France have from open play in this tournament. Infinity.
So we didn't have a shot on target until Bellingham scored yesterday in the 94th minute against Slovakia. Like, not even one on target is a joke. So it's just been tough going. I've got a question though for tonight.
For
Do the
tonight,
Lions
okay.
do the Detroit Lions roster have a little wager going every time Isaiah Buggs get arrested? Does one of them have to get married?
Fuck's sake!
That ties in perfectly to what I've just posted in the Discord as well.
Oh
God damn it.
no!
Ties in perfectly to what I just posted in Discord as well. Fuck's sake.
I didn't even look, but I just thought of that earlier. But like, Jack Campbell's just got married.
And he's just signed for the Red Wings as well.
Malcolm Rodriguez has just got married. So Goff's got married.
Jack Campbell. No, yeah, Jack.
That's
Campbell.
what I just said. That's what I said. Yeah, I said Jack Campbell got married, and then Rodrigo got married.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear the Jack Campbell. I heard Rodrigo.
Exactly. He's got married, and now he's just signed with the Red Wings as well.
Oh. Ooh. Hang on. I'm trying to think of the joke here. Patrick Kane signed with the Red Wings, but I can't remember the other guy they got.
It was a defender, wasn't it? For like
They got a goalkeeper. They got a goalkeeper.
That's Jack Campbell.
Ah.
What else have we got? Lost Oceans is asking for another sports bet because the Washington one cashed last year. So.
Oh, for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that's a heck of a hit.
Well, I had Washington and Texas get in there last year, and I got laughed at. So I got those two. I got Penn State wrong. It almost just wipes out them.
I guess when you take a swing on 3 new teams, that's a very ambitious. But getting 2 out of 3 is fucking
getting Georgia's not bad. Getting Georgia's not bad as well. Like, it was Georgia or Alabama, so that's hardly a loss there. But no one else. I don't think any other analysts would have put in Texas and Washington preseason. But the thing is, it's 12 teams this year, so it doesn't. I guess like teams ranked in the top 4, but I know what Ryan's hot take is, and Ryan's hot take is Ole Miss winning the SEC. So like, if you want to go big, then go, and like they let him down big time. Like, he swore he was never going to back that team again, but he is. So like that's a big thing. But I can actually see it. They've recruited incredibly well out the portal this year. But I'll have a think. It'll not be Washington, I'll tell you that much.
Poor Washington. Lisa just said, "Is Bugs in trouble for the 3rd time?" I think it's only 2, isn't it, at the moment? We're waiting for it.
Yeah, but weren't there two separate counts on the second one? Like counts against him.
Separate charges.
Yeah, so the first one was just like the dog thing, wasn't it? But I think there were 2 or 3 things for the second one. So
the bloody dog thing's enough to fucking put him away. Sorry, like
I know.
I don't want to be the guy that's like humans can defend themselves better than animals, because that dismisses what he did for the second offence, which is definitely arguably much worse. But
we should have a little counter for over the summer, shouldn't we? Like Dallas Cowboys arrests, Detroit Lions marriages, and like just tally them as they go up. Just like a little tally counter. Like, oh, another one gone on the Dallas counter. In fact, no, I think they've been behaved well recently, so.
They got loads of wrong ones on that team, though, so it won't be long.
Coming out of college, that is a prerequisite to look for coming out of college.
Them all the Raiders. David Reinfurt subscribing at Tier 1, 28-month streak. Says, hello, hey, David. And, of course, Ash Soden gifted a Tier 1 sub. Thank you, Ash. To Farmer Dave 1135. Thanks, man.
All right.
Okay, yeah, guys, get your questions in. We have some conversation starters that we can get to, but we're going to do a little bit of news first. I don't have a name for the show. I really don't think it matters. Bradley says Kansas City Chiefs arrests and Lions marriages. So, yeah, that works. He was technically a Chief, so...
Yeah. Can we include Jackson Mahomes in that counter?
I mean, that would be unfair on the rest of the league. They got a big head start. Anyone got something smart for the name of the show? And I'm sure you're brimming with good stuff. Nothing to do with the rest, so maybe.
What, like Arrested Development or something like that?
Oh,
Was that a
God.
film?
Oh,
Was that a film?
No.
no, it's TV show.
Hang on, don't you start sighing at me for jokes, Ashley Soden. Like, you are... You cannot...
Ash, yours yesterday was absolute dross. Like, I was
I
like,
know.
fuck me, that's bad.
What, was Absolute Dross the title?
No. No. What was the joke yesterday?
I'm sorry, Matt, what was the one? No, Matt, yours is the worst. That Coldplay one you made the other day. I nearly went...
That was, yeah.
I nearly went searching for the Mike McDaniel gif
Oh,
after that.
yeah, I know it.
Nearly. But I reserve that mostly for Ash's heinous crimes to comedy.
Nobody said it was easy.
Oh, God. You know what? This was a good year for you to miss Glastonbury. You didn't have to witness that.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. All on the Coldplay hate train here.
I'm here for the Coldplay hate train on record, but live, it's a cracking show. I think they're one of the top 5 all-time live bands ever. Like,
That's a first. You're on a hate train, but they're a top 5 band of all time ever live.
Live,
Got to be a first.
but I won't listen to a second of them on record. Like, I will not put them on Spotify ever. I'm not fussed. But they're very charismatic at what they do. The light show with the wristbands and stuff is just great. They're very inventive. They think about it a lot. They put a lot of effort into making the show great. And live performing is not about how good you are as a singer, as SZA found out yesterday, because that was a shocking performance. And she's a great singer. That's fantastic on record. I will listen to SZA very happily. But I won't go and see her live again. And it's the same with Anne-Marie. But good on record. We'll listen to Anne-Marie. We'll never go and watch her live. Because she's just not good. Yeah, anyway. Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions says, hello there, a podcasting fam across the pond. Hello to you. Bradley Mustaine says, Rashi Rice. Oh yeah, Kansas City Chiefs got 2 guys.
And hasn't he been done multiple times for things as well?
Well,
he had 2 separate arrests.
Car crashing and running from it, wasn't it?
Oh, then there was something else after, though, wasn't there?
No one died, did they, in the car crash? It was just reckless endangerment.
Oh, it was just reckless endangerment.
Joseph Austin says, hello all, happy Canada Day. It was a much more important day, though, isn't it, Ant, which you rightly put in the Discord today?
Oh, yeah.
A certain baseball player getting paid once again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that I still find that one of the most amazing things in the world. Obviously, we don't do that here in this country. So, yeah, it's a happy Bobby Bonilla Day to everybody. Like, we don't defer contracts in this country. So, like with most of our sports, when a player's bought, his contract is just gone. It's erased. It's replaced by a new one. But the funny thing is, Bobby Bonilla has not played a game of baseball since 2001. And he's getting paid more than Brock Purdy is this year. Brock Purdy is a Super Bowl going to quarterback, and he's earning about $2 million more than he is this year, and he's still got another 11 years to go.
I love the fact that he has 2 deferred contracts, not just 1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's like to 2035. It's like, my God. I don't know. Is that again? I assume it's against the cap, to spread it against the cap, so it doesn't infer you're going down. But like baseball, you've got like luxury taxes and stuff. You'd figure you'd just pay it off then and there, but
no. But it was deferred for a decade, more than a decade. It was deferred for 11 years. So you got something like 35 years to spread the $6 million across.
I guess it's actually very smart to get $1 million a year for 24 years. That's setting yourself up in the second phase of your life. So.
And no matter how badly you fuck it up, unless you take out a loan against your money coming in, you're always going to get 1.6 mil.
Exactly. So it's a smart business decision from him. So that's the most famous day of them all. So you've got to enjoy it. I love the whole deferred contract thing. Could you imagine like us paying Penne in like 2072 or whatever, and just they were still paying him. In fact, we probably should just pay him till then, because he's going to be that good for us. Like,
It's a good philosophical question. Would you rather have 6 million now or 1 million
It
a
is.
year in 10 years' time for 24 years?
yeah, exactly. So, and then he took the latter option with it, and it probably worked, because he earned enough during his baseball career.
Well, he's the
So
highest paid player in the league.
Yeah, like in the early 90s, he was earning like 6 million a year, which would have been a lot back then.
I still don't have a name for the show, but I'll just leave it as what it is at the moment, unless you guys have a thought. Oh, go on, say it. Say it.
No. This one will make Ash cringe. No.
Please,
no,
please,
no,
please,
no,
please
no,
make Ash
no,
cringe.
No,
Oh.
no, because then I might have my own GIF used against me, and I can't have that happen. So no.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Happy Douglas Louise Day. Oh, that doesn't hurt that much, does it?
It doesn't. Have you seen the players we brought in today?
No.
So we've got the 2 players we got from Juve as part of that deal, and then we've re-signed Ross Barkley.
Okay, that isn't a good thing, though.
Didn't you see him last year for Luton? He's actually kind of back to how he was before Chelsea ruined him, like they ruined 95% of the players they buy.
But Chelsea didn't ruin him because he was ruined before that. All I would say about Ross Barkley is he's a sort of signing that a team struggling not to get relegated buys.
Disagree. You look at the stuff he did last year. I know he's on a shit Luton team, but as a backup mid, which we kind of need considering we've got none now, it'd be decent. And then we've got, as I said, the 2 youngsters from Juve.
In fact, I think I've thought of something nearly ingenious here. Has anything bad happened in Lions World this week? In regards to the team?
No.
Not really, no.
Oh. See, a lot of our players have been doing something recently, and there's a famous film title which I could finish off if I could think of something to go with.
Yeah, I know the film. Of course.
See what I mean?
What?
4 Weddings and a Funeral?
Yeah. But we've not, I don't want to go down the morbid route
of
of the funeral,
of course,
so something else.
Of course, there was last week. The closest is obviously the Barry Sanders scare.
Oh God!
Yeah.
No, that's too
bleak. We're not
that's
invoking
too,
that. We're not.
That's too
that.
close
We're
to the
not
chest.
We need a replacement for the word funeral. Then we've got it.
Oh.
I don't know if there's been any more weddings, but over the summer we've had Goff, we've had Rodrigo, we've got Campbell. I'm sure someone else has got married or had a kid.
Broderick got engaged.
There we go.
There's your 4th wedding.
Yeah. 4 almost weddings and
4 weddings and a load of babies doesn't count, does it?
No,
it just doesn't.
Because it makes it sound like the babies are a really bad thing. Damien Smith suggests Maple Leaf menu for Canada Day. Kneecap Biting suggests Happy Canada Day to Matthew Betts and Giovanni Manu. Also, Damien suggests Barnes. I don't know.
You might. Ooh. You might have done, actually.
I think he did, actually. I think Barnes got married.
Well, we only need 4, gents, so we've got the 4. Let's just keep the realism here. We got 4.
Oh, he got a baby.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah, of course it did.
I think. I'm just going to run with Happy Bobby Vanilla Day, to be honest.
Vanilla Sky?
Oh. Vanilla Ice.
Oh, God.
Oh, doing the bit that before the show is more fun than the show sometimes.
Well, let's make it a fun show. Otherwise, we've got people in here watching, so...
They've all come in for Detroit Lions stuff, and they're coming away with so much more than anticipated.
Yeah, we're talking about Bobby Bonilla and how many weddings we've. I mean, I suppose the weddings thing is.
Vanilla Sky. Fuck it. Let's do that. Okay, right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to another edition of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, episode 277, Vanilla Sky. My name's Matthew Turner alongside Anthony Fitzpatrick and Ashley Soden. How are you doing, boys?
Just getting over the heart attack of sport that was yesterday with the F1 and Max Verstappen going back to rookie Max Verstappen things, and then England nearly getting themselves knocked out of the Euros and then somehow managing to pull a victory from their derrieres. Quite a heart attack of a day, and hopefully it can settle down because I don't know how much more I can take before the start of the season.
I'm just happy to be talking about some Lions that make me happy, because Detroit does that. England does not.
For such a long time, it was both making us unhappy, wasn't it? Has England ever made you happy, Ant? Be honest. So I can't say a Southgate team has ever made me think I really like this.
No. I don't think so.
I mean, Hodgson era was terrible.
Apart from when we beat Scotland, I'm always happy when we beat Scotland. It's always good to give the home nations a lesson in football. I'll always be happy then. But no, not really. The Detroit Lions give me far more pleasure than the English ones do. I get more pleasure from Chesterfield. Like, let's be honest with those. And
Wow. That's a big statement considering the last 10
10
years of Chesterfield.
we've played in the 5th division for the last 6 years, and they've still given me more pleasure than the England national side has. So,
That's a big shout for a team that plays in a Tesco car park.
Right. Everybody. When I say we're gonna say 2024 and we're gonna go backwards. And when your team last won a relevant trophy, raise your hand in the air and we'll see whose hand is down last. I'll have sent everyone listening to sleep by the time we get to Ash. Like, you'll be counting sheep. 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, like, just a long time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we actually do play in a Tesco car park, thank you, so.
No, I went past it the other week on the way to Sheffield.
Oh, you came by, you should have said hello.
I tried to, but then we needed to get home to come do the quiz, unfortunately.
Ah, yes, the quiz, which has been a roaring success. Congratulations again to Brett. I still need to make the donation. Apologies, I haven't done the second one yet. I agreed that we would match it as well, so it's going to be $20 going to the it's not a food bank, but it's a Detroit Metro Detroit food initiative. So that's really good. The next quiz should be coming up this weekend, although I'm not 100% sure whether it's going to be Saturday or not. England are playing on Saturday, and I'm also in a work Poole tournament on Saturday, so which is maybe the most European thing ever, because I'm not sure. Do America, just for the people in the live chat, can you let me know if you're aware of what Poole is, as in Boules? We'll see what happens there, because it's a great sport, but I've never played it competitively before.
That's French. That
Oui.
Seems like a French word.
Oui.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway. Of course, this is a Lions show, so we are going to get on with Lions things. We are going to go through a bit of news. And then this is an open session, open season, open episode. If you guys in the live chat have any questions, we are going to take them. Otherwise, we're just going to run with our conversation and see where it goes. No structure, no preparation, winging it to the absolute best degree. Bit of news to start with. Preamble first. Discord channel in the live chat right now. Come say hello. Great community of people. Chatting rubbish all the time, actually. I love it. College Football Podcast, and you did the Pack 2 and the Independents last week.
We did, yeah. Basically, the Pack 2 are independents now in their own right. So we sort of grouped them all together because, I say, Ryan's in Japan this week, so I didn't want to do a 2-week show and then not have him for this week. So yeah, we did UMass, UConn, Notre Dame, Oregon State, Washington State. So yeah, if you like your previews, do go check them out. And as has always been mentioned, tomorrow, because Ryan is not here, he's doing something to pass the time while he's away. So doing a Q&A tomorrow. So if, actually doing this for 4 years now, I've never actually done one before. We've never actually done one like during the off season. So if there's anything you want to ask, if there's anything you want to know about, then just hit me up with it because I'll spend today and tomorrow researching. I've been doing all sorts so far. So yeah, hit me up. Or if it's live, you can come and ask me live. So yeah.
Geordie asks, is Poole like Petonk? And Google tells me that it is exactly the same as Petonk. So that is the American name for the game. So I'm sure you guys may be aware of that. Anyway, please don't forget to like the show, sub to the podcast, all that good stuff. You know, it really helps us out. Let's get on without any further ado. And another Lions marriage has passed us this week with Jack Campbell getting married, boys. It feels like they are, well, let's say, very happy with the past year of the season, and maybe I'm not saying that has any. There must just be a coincidence, or I don't know. What it seems to be happening more than it has done in the past for Lions players.
I mean, when you think about it, we're an incredibly young team, so I guess it's natural, really. You know, you have such a young team, you'll have a lot of them getting married because a lot of them they're with high school sweethearts, you know, generally other athletes and that as well. So, you know, you spend your first few years getting acclimatized, get the money together. Like he'll have been able to pay for a good wedding after his first full year of wages. So yeah, it's just nice. Like you see all the rubbish in the world nowadays and all the bad stories. It's just nice to see all these people being happy and whatnot. So yeah, good on them. Enjoy yourselves and then come back refreshed for 2024 and be ready to go.
They're just getting greedy at this point. They're trying to get 2 rings in the space of 1 year, I guess. Getting the first now and then the other ones start next February. Sounds about right.
You know how it's always said that if England win a World Cup, there's going to be a spate of babies born 9 months later because you just do too much happy shagging. I really feel like that's what's happened in the Lions. Like, they had such a good season that they came home and just were very happy. And then there's lots of kids on the way, so they thought they might as well make it a good one and get married before kids come along. I don't know.
And I mean, it's not just natural born children either. Think of all the adoptions that we've made, you know, like the other 3 NFC North teams are our children now and all that. So like Amon-Ra has a whole host of adopted children in the Minnesota Vikings secondary. Pretty much every cornerback they have calls him dad. So like they're doing work for the community as well, adopting a child. So I love it all. I love this familial setting of it. They're all getting to go together as one.
All right, last bit of news is about Sunday Ticket. A jury has ruled that the NFL has violated antitrust laws regarding Sunday Ticket sold by DirecTV between 2011 and 2022. They've awarded $4.7 billion to the residential class action. The NFL are going to appeal if it doesn't get thrown out, which I think is on the 31st of July during some further day in court to this court. I don't really understand what's happened there, but apparently this equates to about $4,000 to $5,000 per person. And I think everyone in a class action who bought Sunday Ticket through DirecTV is automatically included if my knowledge of how legal class action works. So quite interesting. If you have been shoehorned into buying Sunday Ticket to get your NFL, that you could be getting that back. Of course, the appeal could take some time because, well, it's the NFL and they would quite like to hang on to that $4.7 billion. But boys, it's no secret that the NFL have tried to gouge the market somewhat to get as much money as possible. It is, by its nature, a cash-generating machine. So, you know, it's been an open secret. Are you surprised? I don't really know where else to go with this, but like, I am not shocked that it's gone this way. The only shock really is that they got away with it for as long as they have. And, you know, other sports are going to have to look over their shoulder now. I mean, Sky in the UK are probably in exactly the same spot.
This just kind of smacks of they're going to appeal it. It's going to stay in court forever, and then they're just going to settle it at some point down the way. And to be honest with me, as long as they don't hike the prices of Game Pass to pay this off, I don't care. Like, that's the worry now, that they're just going to start hiking everything to try and recoup money back. I mean, it's good value what we get it for at the minute, so leave it what it is.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like, every sport's going to be looking, as you said, like Sky Sports, that, well, for it over here, that, the cricket and all that, it might start a whole cascade of things. And Sneak Whiten says in the YouTube chat as well, won't see it surprised if it starts branching out to other things. Obviously, the whole EA having the exclusive license for the NFL and not really doing that good of a job with it. So we might see something happen there as well, because let's be honest, they don't care about franchise mode on Madden. As someone who loves that mode, they just want Ultimate Team to do well, because that's what makes them the money, because everyone buys the packs and that, and that's what gets them more revenue, rather than, you know, catering to the actual fans who like the game to play the game properly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tell you
absolutely.
what,
So
while we're doing this, Sky should be getting tapped for blacking out games over here. Like, that should not be allowed to happen. Especially, we're going to be a popular team this year. So it's going to start happening regularly, potentially. And, you know, we pay for a service over here. They should not be able to impinge on that service.
just to let everyone know in America, by the way, the international deal is, apart from 3 games on a Sunday, 1 in each time slot selected by our domestic broadcaster Sky, apart from those 3 games, we have access to every single game for the princely sum 2.
Yeah.
There's only 2 games. Oh.
Only 2 games blacked out. One in, yeah, because Sunday night football you get to watch. 6 and 9, 6 and 9.
Oh, I thought the late game was blacked out. So, okay, fine. Okay, just those 2 then. And it costs the princely sum of £140 a year, which is about $175 for the year, for every single team, bar 2 a weekend, which is, frankly, an incredible deal.
It is. Considering it costs us, like, you think per game, you're getting what, 16 games a week, and you've got access to 14 of them live, and you're paying like £8 a week. And like, that's nothing. Like, we you know, I know we do bitch about the price of it sometimes because you do it in one, but it is ridiculously good. And it's so weird to hear of them over there having so many problems with it. Like, the service runs smooth as for us over here. I've very rarely had any issues with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Many thanks to Pride of Detroit for subscribing at Tier 1 for their 24th month. Says, 2 years with my blokes. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thank you very much, my guy. It was really cool to meet up with Jeremy, Ash, wasn't it, in Detroit?
It really was, yeah. Even if I didn't finish my wings, the conversation was great.
We were hungover to shit though. Like, we were in a really bad state. Lost Ocean says, got to start streaming illegally like a majority of people. But my problem with the illegal streaming is that the quality of it isn't good enough, or there are too many adverts, or it's fine for 5 minutes and then it gets bad. And I can't find anything... For the sake of $175, I can't find anything stable enough to make it worth it to go looking for stream.
Yeah, plus we can't sync it up, which always leads to the issues.
I only go looking for streams when we're blacked out, but thankfully we've got a reliable place to go for it. So, But all the other games come in real handy, being able to watch them all, like having them all at your disposal in a back library as well, so you can just go and watch them whenever you want. So you got as much football as you want. They need to start doing the same thing with college. I would pay a lot of money to have that at my disposal.
I would pay so much to have college.
Rather than having 6 screens up with YouTube things. I mean, I love doing it. I'm gonna invest in a second screen this year so I can put up even more. I have like 5-6 games playing at once. It's fun, but it would be great to have a centralized system for college games and that.
Since what used to be BT Sport deal, now TNT have taken over that. Since that deal expired on the 1st of July last year, so we didn't get college ball at all last season, there's nothing to stop YouTube TV broadcasting the college games over here because there is no license holder in the UK. Before, when TNT had a license, they just show what they show and that's fine. But I don't really understand why YouTube TV isn't a thing here. They've invested in all of the infrastructure. They now have it available. So what's stopping them?
Well, true. You raise awareness of the game in this country as well, so why the hell not?
I mean, ESPN Plus should have been that, but even then it was difficult to get access to stuff, and then they only had certain games. And then that stopped as well.
And I mean, you're practically going to get college football every single day from this season going forward. Like, you've not only got midweek action now, you've got other conferences getting in. Like, from the second half of the season, there's going to be football Tuesday through Sunday. So, great for me. I love it. I'm never going to get any sleep, but, you know, if I enjoy those few weeks a year staying up till 4 a.m. watching Akron versus Bowling Green, who wouldn't?
You absolute sicko.
Oh, yeah. I'm proud to be a sicko.
Jeremy says you gave those wings a good run, Ash. So there we go. Sweetwater Tavern. What a place. Right, let's get into some talking points. And like I said, this is open season. So if you guys have a question, have a talking point you want us to address, just let us know. We've been given a couple to start us off. I've got some suggestions if it runs a bit dry. But Giovanni Lyons II starts off with a really fun question before I get into Lost Ocean's more detailed question on a particular player. But Giovanni wants to know who's going to score the first touchdown of the season.
Mm-hmm.
What's our first game of the year again?
Versus LA Rams, Sunday night football.
Terry and Arnold pick 6 off Stafford.
Oh,
it's not going to be. It's not going to be an offense. It's not going to be an offensive player. One of this makeshift secondary is getting the first one of the year, and Ford Field is going to be reduced to rubble. From
what about it being a defensive player playing on offense, Ant? Sorry, Ash.
What? Malcolm Rodriguez fullback sneak.
Oh, I was thinking of
that's
Neil fullback dive.
Exactly. Lee McNeil fullback dive.
Well, supposedly a Lee McNeil play action pass from fullback.
The Don Tyree Poe play. Oh, you know what? I could take that. I'll take that.
No, I'm saying it now. Stafford's ego is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to throw at all these young corners, and Arnold's going to pick him off, and then people are going to be like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. This dude's legit.
And then Kelly's going to be like, how dare he pick him off in Ford Field? Does he know about our kids?
I wonder who the backup quarterback is for the Detroit Lions. Sorry for Kelly. Never mind.
Nate
Sudfeld. Kelly using a hooker. Jeez.
No, Sudfeld's backup. You do need to answer this question anyhow.
Lee McNeil fullback dive. I will keep pounding the table for it until it actually happens.
I'm going to go for Jameson Williams jet sweep.
Oh.
I just feel like that sort of play. So the San Francisco touchdown was not quite a jet sweep, but it wasn't far away. The angle was slightly wrong for it to be jet, but
end around. Yeah.
It's a great way to get the ball in his hands, and the only thing I lament is that they haven't done that more with him, because if his catching was a problem, give it to him as a runner. Lost Ocean says, I bet this time they will actually boo Kelly. Yikes. I think not.
I'm just indifferent to this whole thing now. Like, Stafford doesn't need any attention now until he goes in the Hall of Fame. I don't even want them to make a fuss about him this time. Let's wait until he goes in the Hall of Fame as a Lion, then we can give him his fuss.
Fair. I mean, I'm just never going to hate on Stafford family. Ever. No. Just won't do it. I will cheer against them. I will boo when he's trying to get the calls out to make it as hard as possible for him, because it's a thing you do against your rival, and he is a rival. But he's also my guy. Reason why I'm a fan of the team. So Dan G said he's not getting a video. I hope he doesn't. It's the season opener. He's not getting a video. No chance.
I just want Kirby to sack him this year so we can look at him and go, yeah, say that again.
Yeah.
After last year. Like, Kirby is 100% coming up on a safety blitz for this one, and he's going to absolutely ruin him.
All right, next
That'd be
question.
awesome, wouldn't it? It'd just be there, he'd just go, say hello to Tyler for me and walks off. That would just be like, that'd be Batman vibes. If you could get that on like the Hotline, that'd just be memes for eternity.
All right, bit more of a Lions analysis question, I guess. Lost Oceans asks, the POD family discussed it a bit, but would love to hear thoughts on if Ifeatu Melifonwu is the long-term answer at safety. So obviously, Melifonwu is in the last year of his deal after being the starter in the second half of last season. Played a bit part role in the first half of the year, played very strongly. I asked Jeremy, I remember when he was doing a Madden sim, whether Ifeatu was having a glow up. And I think maybe the term didn't translate at the time. And then I felt vindicated as he started the next week, and then the rest of the weeks for the rest of the season. It's one of only a few good takes I've had ever about the NFL. But there we go. So I'm gonna run with this one. But boys, can Melifonwu be the answer? Do you think he will be the answer? Do you think he's even going to start this season? Because if Branch does move back, it might be a straight fight between Iffy and Kirby in a 2 safety set. So there's a lot of moving parts here. What do you think, Ant?
I would like him to be part of the future. I actually think him and Kirby, like, they're the perfect pair in there. Like the skill set, what they bring to the table, like they're the pair I want for the long term here. I think they complement each other very well. And as I've been very active about, Branch should be playing nickel this year. So put your best players in the best positions and let them go to work. And it is better for this franchise if he comes good this year. And I think having him, Kirby, Branch back there, I think they will be a very good pairing going forward. You've got the corners in now, which helps as well, because it's going to make it more difficult. It's hard when you've got no corners in there helping you, providing any assistance either. So just feels like all the parts are coming together this year, and they're both going to have a big year. This is the same for both of them. We need them both to play well, because that means our future's just so much more secure if they do. I don't think if he's going to command a mega deal next year, even if he plays relatively well, I think he's going to be on like a good squad deal, which you're going to have in there, which is great for us. I don't think he can demand, but unless he comes out and has like 6 or 7 picks or something stupid this year, like it just works for us. It works for him. So yeah, I think he is, and I think he will be.
Ash?
Yeah, I'd like him to as well, because he gives us a skill set that kind of the others don't. So I'm going to group Kirby, CJ Moore, and Brandon Joseph together into the fact that they're single high safeties, good at coverage, can come down and do stuff against the run if you need them to, but they're not the best at that. They're good at coverage and just covering the back end and not letting deep passes go. Branch played in the nickel, did a bit of safety at Alabama, looked good at it, but can it translate to the NFL? Let's have a look this year. But if he's the only true box safety we have, so I'd love for him to stick around, because he just gives us that skill set that no one else has right now for us, at least to a level where we can trust him. Obviously, we've got Chelan Garnes and on Strickland, and Maurice Norris, who are all trying out for safety, who maybe can do that, but not to the extent that we've seen if he did last year. So it's just a case of, can he continue that kind of form into this year? Maybe allow a slight drop off just because of the fact it's a full season spread rather than just half a season. But I can see him easily playing himself into at least a decent squad contracts where he can be the starter on first and second downs, and maybe if he improves the coverage can stay on third down. But if not, then you move Branch to safety, you bring in Breakstraw at the nickel just to give you a bit better coverage on like third and longs, because God knows how many third and longs we gave up last year. But yeah, I'd love to see him, and that's someone who, probably has been lower on him the rest of the panel for his time here, just because they hadn't really seen it until the end of last year.
And the biggest benefactor of Iffy doing well as well is me, because it means we don't have an issue at safety, which means I don't have to scour college football for safeties, which means I don't have to fall in love with a safety and then watch the Falcons draft them and then not use them and me get really mad during draft time. So, like, for the sake of my sanity, Iffy, please do it. Because if he comes good, we've got no need at safety whatsoever next year. Don't even need to look at them.
It's just a really interesting dynamic because how much stock do you put in to as Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions go and follow on YouTube rightly states, they are saying in their press conferences, they are proving it in terms of where he's repping. All of his reps pretty much have come at safety in this spring. They have said they expect him to start at strong safety. Everything they're doing suggests that's what they want him to do. Lisa Di Lorenzo says, I want Brian Branch at nickel. He's only going to get better at nickel. I am with Lisa on that thought. And I do think that there's going to be a certain element from them of not wanting to put too much on his plate and running with what they did last year. So he's still only a year 2 guy. And he played so well in that nickel position that I can't believe they're going to take that off his table. The point is flexibility as opposed to a complete change of position. You don't just upend someone who is a top 10 player in the NFL in his position just because you want to. So I do think it's just going to be a little bit of both. But I do think that's going to eat into Melifonwu's reps because I can't see Kirby coming off the field for Branch. But I can see Melifonwu coming off the field for Branch, which sucks because you guys know how much I was banging the drum for him. I mean, Melifonwu's snaps on defense, he had 242 in 2021, 98 in 2022, and then 535 last year. His grades went 61.7, 54.6, and then 82.1 this year. Like, the difference is stark, a switch has flicked, and I really hope he doesn't become the fall guy for Branch moving back. And, you know, Kneecap Biting said, we're now 5 deep at corner, which is fair. I mean, we have Carlton Davis in by trade, we've got Arnold and Rakestraw in by draft, we've got Robertson in free agency, and then Vildor back there, last year's starter in the second half of the season. So 5 plus Branch, which means, you know, you maybe want to fit in a few more cornerbacks, which makes moving Branch back make sense. However, I think this is maybe a bit more of a second half of the year conversation, because can you really trust Arnold and Rakestraw, who are draft picks, to be day one starters for 100% of the snaps? Can you trust Robertson in a new system or Davis in a new system to hit the ground running? I think with Davis you kind of have to, but Branch is just a piece that, at least at the start of the season, I wouldn't want to move.
So this is the thing, and with this,
and Mosley as well. If Daniel G rightly says I forgot Mosley, thank you.
But you know, we argued a lot about this during I think it was last week or maybe the week before. But the thing people are forgetting here, yeah, we've got all these guys on this positions, but everybody, like so many more people, are new to this team. You are revamping your secondary, and to just move them around higgledy-piggledy. Like, get these guys bedded in first. I agree, if you're going to play with this, do it in the second half of the season. But, like, none of the corners have played a snap here. All the newbies, they're rookies, all the new signings. You've got potentially one of the best nickel corners in the league in Brian Branch there. Use him there. You don't need to play him at safety. You've got 2 safeties who you want to give time this year because you want to see what you've got with them. It's as big a year for Joseph as it is for Iffy. And we know how good they both are back there. You've got to give them the time. And then use your 2 strongest guys at corners. Don't be stupid. We've not had good secondary play for a long time. Let's bed these guys in. Let's play our strongest players at their strongest positions. Let's just start there and work onwards from this. No, we're not 5 deep at corner yet until these guys prove that we can be 5 deep at corner. You know, it's just a depth chart at the moment with potential on there. We don't know how they're going to be here in Detroit. So, Branch is your guy. He's the best guy in your secondary by a long way. Play him where he is strongest.
And I think the problem with playing him at safety stylistically is you think about drive killers, and if you're playing back at safety, one of them's a sack if you bring them on a safety blitz. One of them's making an interception or a PBU on a 3rd down. But that's basically it from the safety position. Whereas playing at nickel, he was such a weapon playing on the line of scrimmage, coming on the nickel blitz, and hitting for a sack or a TFL, which, if you bring him up to the line as a safety, you're leaving Kirby in single high, so you're playing, you know, zone blitz or you're doing like cover one or something like that. I don't really, as much as they're talking a big game with Kirby, I don't really want to leave him on an island, to be honest, because I don't think that's going to suit him particularly well. By taking Branch out of being off the line on the majority of snaps, you're removing a part of the game which is so good. Like, his anticipation of the snap count, his electricity off the line is something which puts them in second and long, or third and long, or ends the drive altogether. And now suddenly it's like, oh, the best we can hope for is a really good PBU. And it's like, well, that's not as much of a drive killer as what he's already doing.
No. And your safeties, both young, like having Branch there as that line of protection for them is what is best for them. Like I say, not leaving them isolated on their own and causing issues there. I would have full faith in leaving Carlton Davis and Terry and Arnold to fend for themselves. Like, in terms of what they're going to do. I believe they are good enough to do that, and you can have Branch in helping those guys, but not at the expense of him being back there. Like, just don't play around with it. Don't be cute. You've got really good players. Use them where they're best. Like, we're set up to do really well, and as I say, we've not earned the right to be this funky. I just want to see a good secondary first and foremost, not something that tries to be cleverer than it is. We'll work our way on it going through. We've got some really talented players. Let's play them where they're good. End of.
All right, let's move this conversation on to another question. And this is from Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions. Asks, if James Houston cannot return passing a physical by week 2 of training camp, does he start off like his rookie year on the practice squad? And I think this is going to be a storyline which surrounds this off-season period, because frankly the Lions are pretty deep, and so those players which are going to be a bit more peripheral really come to the fore. Apologies. What do you think about James Houston's prospects? Because, you know, only recently came off the surgery at the back end of last season, didn't look himself, not heard a huge amount of him in this off-season period, and the injury he had isn't really conducive to... It's going to make him getting back to his former self harder. Not impossible, obviously, but what do you make of his prospects realistically? Ash?
If that's the case, if he can't pass a physical and he can't be there for training camp, sorry, it's not even the practice squad for him. It's the street. To say we're getting deep there, there's a reason we brought in all these guys in free agency and off-season that play the Sam role. You've got that Matthew Betts, we've got from the CFL, you've got Mitchell Agude, you've got the Ukwu from Ole Miss. Nate Lincoln played there, though I don't love him in that role. You've got all these guys, you're trying them out at the Sam role. Hell, Derek Barnes, we've played him at the Sam a couple of times at the back of the season, did well there. You've got all these players who we can all put there, and yeah, if Houston can't pass the physical, he can't just be there. Then unfortunately, as Ryan Matthews says on POD, you said POD, the best ability is availability, and unfortunately, Houston didn't have that last year. And if he's continuing to this year, can we afford to keep him on the practice squad until he gets healthy and hope that he can get back to it? Because as you alluded to, Matt, the injury he had really affects his play style, because the way he played well was through the ankle torsion, being able to bend and just get under offensive tackles. That ankle got injured. He's got tightrope surgery there. He might not be able to get back to that kind of flexibility he needs in the ankle to be able to do that. So even if he does come back 100%, he might have to learn other ways to beat tackles. And can he do that? There's just too many variables there for me to be happy. Keep him around, especially if he's not fit. Yeah, maybe put him on the PUP or the IR, give him time that way. But it's either that or the streets, because that practice squad spot could go to someone else who is fit and available and will not be as good as a pass rusher as him, but might be a better run defender, might be a bit better in coverage, and give us that all-round player that you kind of need at the Sam. Because, James was a great designated pass rusher. Put him on third downs opposite Hutch. He cleaned up that back half of his rookie season. Fortunately, we didn't see it last year because of the injury. And if we can't see it again this year, especially with him this kind of been a contract year for him because of the contract he signed when we brought him off the practice squad in his rookie year. It's a long way if he's not healthy. Let me put it that way.
I mean, we're forgetting the really simple option here that if he's not healthy, if he's still injured, we just put him on IR and we leave him there until he is healthy and he's ready to go. And we do it that way because at the end of the day, you wait for him to get healthy because, I'm sorry, Mitchell Agude, Matthew Betts, they're not fit to clean his boots. These, I don't care if they play Sam a little better or a little bit better run blocker. They're still going to be poor in the grand scheme of things. They're not going to offer anything to this team otherwise. He does. Like I say, he has more pass rush ability in there than any of them are ever going to have in their lives at the NFL level. And even if they can only do things a little bit better than him in other areas, the payoff is not there. You give Houston every chance to get healthy. You keep him here, even if it's the expense of one of these guys. I'm sorry, that's just the way it's going to be. We can all try and be clever and think one of these guys is going to do something just because they play the role, but they're not. They're not, really. So I would just give him time, put him on IR, fine, whatever. Has to miss the first bit, but you get him healthy, you get him going, you give him a chance in this team. He is the only one of all those players mentioned that could actually be a legitimate difference maker for us in an NFL game during the season. So you give him every chance to get healthy and get ready, or somebody else will. Somebody else will just take him, use him as a pass rusher, and we'll just look stupid for trying to be too clever with this. So I don't want that to happen.
I think for me, I don't see him being a player who's going to end up on PUP or IR simply because he came back last season. Like, that was 6 months ago he came back. So I think the more fundamental question is, does the injury leave him with a lingering issue which he can't shake, which hurts his productivity? Can he actually bend when he's healthy, in quotes, healthy? Because if he is now forever hampered and the one thing which made him special is gone forever because he's healthy but he can't do it, I think that's where we might end up. I think if I had to make a judgment call right now, I'd say he'd be cut. And I agree with Ant. He absolutely, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, had much, much higher ceiling than the players mentioned. But he kind of now has to prove it again because of the injury that he had. And if he proves it, that's fantastic. But, you know, the human body only takes so much, and I know he's only done it once, but sometimes it's just a bit crap and you get unlucky. I will be so happy if he does, because he's a humble guy who works hard, keeps his head down, just gets to it. I'm absolutely rooting for him, and I want him to succeed here, but the competition's going to be stark. I mean, the thing I will say about Betts and Agude is that it's been a long time since they've had to prove themselves against this level of opposition. And they clearly saw enough in them to bring them in. So I'm not going to count them out. But I think what they had put on tape at the start of their career lends me to doubt that they can be as good as Houston could be.
I mean, all this stuff about him not looking the same. He's played 11 snaps since his injury. Like, that's not even a minute sample size. Now, I know the argument can be made, oh, well, the edge run was up last year. If you can't get into that, there's issues. But still, the injury he's had, how are you going to get back from it? 11 snaps. That's just a terrible decision to go, oh, well, yeah, he doesn't look the same. Let's just get rid of him. Like,
but you hear about... So if I said to you, there's a running back who's had an ACL and he's never looked the same since, that's not a strange thing to say. When you've got a person who requires bend, that needs ankle strength, so having an ankle injury is going to make it harder.
Snaps.
But it's not even about the 11 snaps. Like, the 11 snaps, he wasn't fully fit. Like, he clearly wasn't fit. So they should never have brought him back. That's the clear thing here, is that he just wasn't himself. But what I'm saying is, throw that out. The injury itself is the cause of the concern, not how he played.
Yeah, but this is all conjecture until we see properly.
Yeah, of course. But
so
all
because
we're doing right now is conjecture, though.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like I've said, I would see how fit he is first before making a decision. I'm not saying we should just take him, but at the same point, Like all this stuff of he doesn't look the same. It's just, well, we're going to have to wait and see if he doesn't look the same first. It's way too early to be going, oh, well, some of these like part-time guys we're bringing in, CFL guys that we're bringing in are going to be better than him long-term because we simply don't know. He's not been given an opportunity to prove himself whilst fully healthy. That is the thing here. You've got to give him a shot when he's fully healthy, but don't overthink this. Out of all these guys in that edge room fighting for that spot of his, like it's not even a competition as to who's the most talented. So you have to give him every opportunity to show that he is that guy there, and he's not had the opportunity to do so far. So to just write him off is too early to do that.
I'm not writing him off, and I've adequately tried to give my disclaimers in the opinion. Like, I'm not trying to say he's not going to make it. It's just the whole thing of the off-season is making judgment calls where we have absolutely no bloody idea what we're talking about, let's be frank. So...
That's true, but like we should be having this conversation about the entire edge room, though. Like Davenport, Pascal, even Kamish. Like I know he's had his injuries and that, but they're all hurt and need to prove themselves. I just feel like James gets singled out a bit too much here. So like the lot of them have to prove themselves as been healthy enough to do this. So like none of these guys should be guaranteed really if they can't stay healthy. So. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But for now, you've got your guys in there. He should be part of that group until he shows that he can't be.
Well, okay, you've mentioned all the other guys there, so let's take this conversation further. And it's a really funny point by Kneecap Biting saying he thinks that Davenport is made of glass more than Ziggy Answer, which is a great name to infer here. Name also inferred in our recent quiz, I will say. So let's talk about the rest of the edge room. Who is your day one starter opposite Hutch right now? In a 4-3, who's the big end?
Right.
Define starter.
Takes
the majority of the reps.
I'm just about to say, are we assuming everyone's fully healthy at this point? Like, because there's just so many mitigating things here. Like, right now, would you trust him to be a day one starter given the injuries he's had recently? Like, that would be a different answer to theoretically them all being healthy.
Let's say they're all fully healthy. Who's your day one starter at the big end?
See, now that complicates it. Because
let's ask both questions then. If they were fully healthy, who's your day one your day one majority rep taker, which I'm going to call a starter, and given where you think the injuries are going to be come week one, who do you think the starter will be? Because if they're different answers, that's fine. I don't care.
It was the big end, so starter opposite Hutch would be Davenport, but when we have Davenport on the field, I'd flip Hutch to the big end. So big end opposite Hutch would probably be Pascal, but majority of the snaps opposite Hutch would be Davenport. I think we're going to use Hutch. We're going to flip in between rush and big, depending on formation we see, person on the other side. So it's one of them. Though I do want to quickly look back. So I looked it up. Agude played in the league last year pre-season, so it's not so much. He hasn't played for a while. It's just so, but it's one of them. But yeah, for me, opposite Hutch most of the time. Davenport, big end starter, Pascal.
I'm not sure. See, in an ideal world for me, this feels like the year for Pascal, like where you've got to decide with him long term or not. I always feel like Davenport's going to be a one. Even if Davenport does well here, it's hard to see him been here more than a year. What they do is they'll probably put Davenport in. Like they bought him here for a reason. Like they've bought him here on a cheaper deal. They know him. They'll probably want him to be the second guy there. But I will put in Pascal. Like this is he's got no excuses this year, Josh Pascal. He did play a lot of football last year after having injury problems and that. And he's been healthy. He's got a fully healthy offseason behind him. We need to see that investment made. Because I didn't like his pick several years ago. I was very vocal about not liking his pick there. Like, this is the year he has to show out for us. We invested big in him when there were, in my opinion, better edge rushers round. So, like, for me, you've got to throw him in and see what you've got with it with Hutch. And then if bring Davenport in after, bring Houston in pass rushing situations. Like, if all these guys are healthy and play well, I think we've got a damn good edge room between these four. Like one of the better ones going. But yeah, Pascal for me.
Yes, it's Pascal for me as well. And I say that without hesitation because I think that he might be the guy going forward. But with Davenport and with the Lions in general, we know that the Lions are really conservative when it comes to injuries. I can't believe they're looking at Davenport's resume and saying this guy is going to take a majority of the snaps. He's just not. That isn't how they operate with things. He's been brought in to be the guy that can take 400 snaps a year out of the 1,000, being the rotating guy in, because that manages his workload, and maybe, just maybe, you get upwards of 13 or 14 games out of him quite reliably by making sure that he's not taking on a heavy workload. Bring him on third down. Bring him on in a rotation role on first and second down, but don't start him, for God's sake. That isn't the way that they play. They're just so conservative when it comes to injury. I can't believe that they would do that.
I mean, in theory, I don't think they would go into day one. I don't think they'll go into the game with the Rams knowing who the starter is, technically. I think it's going to be trial by error with them until somebody stands up and claims it. Like, someone will take the physical first snap of the game, but they'll not be the starter.
Sure.
Because I think that every single one of them has, like you said, injury concerns. Like, Pascal's the one least now. He's furthest removed from his injuries and has played the most since his injuries, but he's still, like, inconsistency plagues his game. So they've all got an inconsistency of some kind. So I don't think any one of them will have it. It'll just be play by committee, play by situation, see what you're coming up against. Like, if you're coming up against the Dickey line, like, maybe hell, throw Houston and Hutchinson in there on the same play, because that'll be like the Rams. They've invested heavily, but on the interior, not on the tackles. Like, you're going to put some pressure on those tackles, put him in there and do that. Just do it as the situation demands. It's kind of the nice thing we've got with these four is we've got a guy for every situation, really, and we can switch it up a little bit.
One other thing we were asked by Carlton Wood was, can Houston be a fourth down lineman, or is he the fifth rusher from the Sam position?
I mean, right now, he's a specialist rusher.
Yeah, specialist rusher.
But at the same time, again, that's not a bad thing. But yeah, he's a specialist rusher, right? He has to prove he can be more than just a specialist rusher, but there is still a place for him. If he's still going to get you 8-9 sacks a season, you still take him. So, but yeah, he's designated rusher.
Yeah.
In agreement. Okay, Mark Cunningham on our Legacy WhatsApp channel asks, I'm happy with the squad we have and what we are building, but I can't help but think we still need a big wide receiver who can catch a contested ball, or win a contested ball, sorry you put it. What's your thoughts on the big-bodied wide receiver position? Ash, I know you have an especially strong take, perhaps, on this position.
We need one. It's what I've been banging on about for a while. It was my new thing ever since we got a proper DT. It's been, we need an X receiver, because Reynolds was good at it, but he was more of a Z playing the X position by necessity. Same with Leaf. He'll probably be the guy, our wide receiver 3 in terms of snaps this year, right now, looking at it. But he's not a true Z. We need someone, Zex, I mean, we need someone who say contested ball. For me, it always comes down to, you've got 5 seconds left on the clock. You need a touchdown to win. And yes, we've got Amon-Ra, we've got Sam Porter, but let's say they're strong in the interior. They've got a really good nickel corner, good safeties. You need to look outside for an end zone fade. Who you're throwing it to right now, and we don't really have anyone you can trust. Maybe Anton Green can turn into that. Maybe a DPJ can turn it back on like he'd had it in that season against the Browns, even though then he was more of a deep threat kind of receiver than a contested guy. We just need someone to step up on the outside who can do that thing, because we know Amon-Ra can do it over the middle. We know Laporta can do it over the middle. But so all the other teams, they'll focus on the middle with us. So you need someone on the outside who can do it as well for me.
I mean, we need someone there, but am I concerned? No. We were third in total offense in the NFL last year without one, really. So, we had nearly 7,000 yards of offense last year. When you think of the pieces we have, we can get by without one. Like, don't get me wrong, we need one. But am I concerned going? We didn't lose against the 49ers because we didn't have a guy who could do that. Like, none of the losses that were because of that particular thing. It was the defense that screwed us over, really, and bad luck in the championship game. So I'm not uber concerned that we don't have one because I know we can do it without, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't like one. But thankfully for us, we have options this year. We have multiple options we can cycle through to try and find one. And if we can, then great. But I'm not uber concerned we don't. We got Ben. Ben will make best use of what we have.
Yeah, I'm more with Ant than I am with Ash on this. I think it would be nice to have one. Anyone who claims we're fine, like totally fine, it's all going to be okay, I think is deluding themselves. Having one would be really nice. But at the same time, I think we could get by without one. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones started turning up towards the end of last season with some of the bigger catches that Josh Reynolds was making earlier on in the season. On a very limited basis, but he was doing that a bit. So I think you can rely on him to do that a bit. But if you just said, okay, you've got Gibbs out the backfield, Laporta as a tight end, and then you've got Amon-Ra and Jamo. As long as they all stay healthy, and I mean, that's maybe the proviso here, is that maybe relying on all four of them being healthy at all times is maybe not the best thing to rely on. But if they are healthy, that's maybe one of the combination of top four attackers in the league. So I think we'd be fine. I mean, frankly, having Goff, Amon-Ra on offensive line is probably fine. But how far do you want to take that argument? I don't think you'd be able to stop our offensive line, Goff and Amon-Ra, and that's it.
Yeah, I think and a lot of this comes down to the style of football you play as well. Like in some systems, the outside guys are absolutely critical. In some, they're not as critical. Like, I mean, we'd take this offense now over the offense with Calvin in it, but like Calvin's one of the greatest players of all time. But we are balanced enough and have enough options here that like our offense is better. So in another system, it wouldn't be. But for now, we've shown we can do it without. But obviously, variety is the spice of life. You want as much as you can get. I would love to have got one, but I would be more worried if we didn't have the slot receiver in the Amon-Ra's not slot. Amon-Ra plays outside 45% of the time, so I don't know why. But anyhow, horses for courses.
So here's an interesting theoretical question then. Take the other weapons out of it. Top three wide receivers. The top three wide receivers who played in Stafford's day of Golladay, Marvin Jones Jr. and Golden Tate, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and Khalif Raymond right now as wide receiver 3, or maybe Antoine Green. I don't know who that third guy is, but insert your pick of third wide receiver here for the team right now. Which one of those trios do you prefer?
See, this is from the purist point of view. Watching Golladay and Golden Tate and that was just delightful. And watching Calvin is obviously delightful, but we remember these guys because they were exceptions to the rule. They were beacons in an otherwise god-awful offense that just would do nothing. Whereas these guys, they all work together in the same unit. So, like, the age-old question, would you prefer one superstar who you worship like anything or a team of players? People have different preferences for it.
I mean, the team undoubtedly looked better when Calvin retired and we actually spread it about a bit.
Yeah. I mean, like, you give me the trio of Gibbs, Laporta, and Amon-Ra.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're, I would not take another pairing of any players ever in Lions history over those three. You could put, like, just for me, they're that good.
I'm just trying to think who the tight end was in the Megatron era, but it would have been Pettigrew, wouldn't it?
Pettigrew and then Ebron.
Okay, so Megatron, Ebron, Reggie Bush. is the trio in that scenario. So it's a clear win for right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Ash? What do you think on the trio of wide receivers?
I honestly go for the legacy ones because I've said it for a while. I like having what I will term, even though I'm trying to get into basketball, but I haven't got there yet. A basketball style wide receiver core. We've got Amon Ra, who's the great possession guy over the middle, can play outside as well. They've got JMO, who's the field stretcher. You've got Leaf, who's a field stretcher. Gibbs and Monty can do stuff over the middle. You've got Laporte, who can do stuff over the middle and can split out wide if you need him to. I just want that big body guy in the outside, and we had that with Kenny and Marvin. They could do it. Marvin can go inside. Kenny could go inside as a big slot. Tate, Yak King always led the league in yards after catch us and could go outside as well. It's just more well-rounded because right now it would probably, as I said earlier, Leaf is probably the leading wide receiver free in terms of snaps right now, unless someone jumps up. That's two field stretchers, and Amon Ra, I just want someone else. That's why I keep saying it. If it turns out that we use Laporta out wide a bit more, because I know we played him outside about 26% of snaps last year, do that a bit more, bring on Brock in over the middle on a few more snaps, maybe it can negate it a bit.
So I'm absolutely here for Laporta at X and right in line. That would be so good. Yeah, I'm definitely here for that. Associated question to what we were just talking about. Who's your favourite of the three legacy wide receivers I just mentioned?
Tate.
Yeah, I don't think it's close for me. It's Golden Tate.
Yeah.
And in terms of who I think was best out of the three of them, I think it's Tate as well.
Tate. Yeah. The original Yak King.
I don't want to answer this.
Oh, Sophie's choice for you.
This is not even the three. You know what? My favorite Lions receiver to watch. I'm going to get hate for this. I loved watching Kenny Golladay play.
Well, I bought his jersey
because I love, and everyone goes, the speed, but and this is the thing with outside X wide receivers, guys like that. Those are the receivers I love the most in the game. But I loved watching Kenny Golladay play football for us, especially when he was in his hot moments. There are very few DBs in this league who I wouldn't have trusted him to go one-on-one against and kick their ass when he was in his good spell with us. And when he came to this team, the guys were on the downward trend. He was one of the big parts in here. So of course I love all the others, but just my stylistic style of football I like to watch, it is Kenny Golladay. But of course they're all amazing. So,
Yeah. Such a shame for him. He got paid in his love for the game just went.
Yeah. I lie. It's Danny Amendola. No, I'm joking.
Oh, for God's sake.
Love it.
I'm about to say, we talk about the great trios we have. We could have LeGarrette Blount, Jesse James, and Danny Amendola. How about that for a trio? That's where we've come from, folks.
I mean, the proper depth of depression there, for God's sake. Right, let's move on to another question. You guys, we need some more questions, so keep coming in with them. Otherwise, I have to go to my backup reserve, the injured reserve of questions. We do have one, though, from Lost Oceans, who asks, will the Lions carry more reserve guards than Sorsdal, Mahogany, Muti, and Arasika? Are these reserves pretty well set? We talked at length about offensive line last week when we were looking at the free agents for 2025 for the Lions, so who was in there last year of their deal. We talked for a long time specifically about Dan Skipper. So without trying to rehash that argument, how set do you think the Lions' depth is at offensive line? Do you think that Sorsdal, Mahogany, Muti, and Awasika will make it? Give us your thoughts.
Right, I'm just gonna breadbasket mine into a small thing. So again, we take more offensive linemen this year. We will take a large number this year. And basically the reason why is we've got our starting five, but then we've got so much development talent in Manu, in Sorsdal, in Mahogany, in whoever we take to play centre. That's 4 guys, 4 day 3 guys, or later, who you're taking with you. And a championship caliber team can't afford to take that much unproven depth with it at the same time. It's got to have some vets in there somewhere. So if you're going to protect all your draft picks and not cut them, take your starting 5 offensive line and take depth. You've got to take a lot of guys. So I expect them to take a lot of players. They can't afford to go just with the draft picks.
3 of those 4 make it, but one of them's making it as a tackle, and that's Sawstill. You go off the camp reports, and we see, again, it's camp reports, we haven't seen it in person ourselves, but it seems like Sawstill is repping everywhere but centre right now on the offensive line. Maybe that's because some of the guys haven't turned up yet, the vets, but it really seems like the team want him to play a sort of versatile backup role where he'll be the backup tackle and then probably the second or third guy off the bench at guard. So he's definitely making it. Mahogany's making it. If you've read my article that I posted last week, you know how highly I think of him. I think he could be a starting guard in the league next year when Zeitler's gone. And then either one of Muti or Awashika is probably going to make it. I'd lean Awashika right now because he's got some tackle flexibility. He played there for Philly before he came to us, and the team knows him, and they'll obviously show deference to veterans. So there's 3 of those 4 going to make it, and then obviously Manu's going to make it, despite maybe he shouldn't, but because we know if we try to waive him and do the whole thing, get him as practice squad, some of the Eagles are now going to swipe him up. So we just can't afford to try and cut him. So he's going to be there, even though he'll only play like the field goal unit for this year, just because he's that like raw in terms of technique and that. So I think it's pretty well set right now, just because those are the guys we've got, and because you just look around the league and O-line depth. But even when you get to the 32 starters in the league at positions, it's really damn bad. So unfortunately, there's not like we can go out and get someone off the street tomorrow that's going to come in and instantly knock one of these guys off. So I think it's pretty well set right now, unless injury happens in camp or someone just comes and plays out their mind and takes a spot all for themselves.
Well, I think we do take 10. I agree with Ant. If you take that number of untested players, you've got to back it up with some proven depth as well, which just increases the number. And if that means linebacker 6 doesn't make it, if it means running back 4 doesn't make it, so be it. I mean, frankly, running back 4 I'm not going to cry over, because you can have JMO or Amon-Ra take running back snaps if you really want to anyway. My backups making it are Manu, Awashika, Sawstill, Skipper, Mahogany. That's my backup 5. Last week I said I thought that I would like to take a backup centre. I've changed my mind. It kind of sucks, but if Ragnar went down, we just pick a centre up, or we pick one up off the practice squad. So it doesn't really change anything, and there's no replacing Ragnar, so don't worry about it. It's just one of those things. I'd rather keep the backup guard who's much better than any of these UDFA centres who frankly aren't going to move the needle for me. Awashika's going to be better than any of them, and he might be offensive lineman 10. Or maybe Skipper. And you guys took me around with Skipper last week when I said it was going to be cut. I've changed my mind as well. And I just think, with how good he is as a 6th man, that does something for us in our offense. It does change the numbers. So keep him. Yeah, right. I'm going to ask a question and then answer it myself, because then I'm going to pop off for 2 secs. Carlton Wood asks, Matt, how many safeties and cornerbacks do you think make the 53 in total? He thinks 10. So I'm going to go through my guys and then I'll throw it over to you. So I think with corners, we'll take 6, which will be Barnes, Mosley, Arnold, Vildor, Robertson, Rakestraw, not counting Branch in that list. And then safeties will take 4, which will be Branch, Joseph, Melifonwu, Moore. Now, if you want to make that 7-3 and put Branch in corner, that's fine. That means that Brandon Joseph doesn't make it. It means that Dorsey, Norris doesn't make it. Strickland, Garnes. But I'd be very happy with that whole. Gilmore as well won't make it. What about you guys? And I'll be back in a sec.
I also have 10 making it. which obviously the obvious starters of Davis, Arnold, Branch, Iffy, Kirby. But then I have CJ Moore and Brandon Joseph both making it. And CJ Moore for special teams, Brandon Joseph because it seems the team really likes him as like if he as Kirby's backup, and then Vildor and Meek and Ennis making it, which means that Mosley doesn't make it. He might go into NFI or something anyway. Maurice Norris doesn't make it. Stephen Gilmore doesn't make it. Dorsey doesn't make it. Longstreet doesn't make it, and Kevin Carnes doesn't make it. It's probably the same as Matt's, to be honest. Seems pretty cut and dry right now.
I don't think I would disagree with any of that. I've made it known Mosley's not going to make the team, and to be honest, when you've put so much into the youth movement for the future of this, I don't want a guy who's coming off consecutive ACLs taking snaps off the youngsters. Like, it's just, people are writing Houston off after one ankle injury potentially. I mean, 2 ACLs for a corner when we've invested as much as we have. Like, the odds of him coming back are next to nothing. Mosley is not going to come back and be what he was before. That is just, he has not played competitive football now for going on 3 years. Well, 2 seasons. He's missed 2 full seasons. So it's going to be 3 years, 3 calendar years since he's really played football. He's not going to make this roster. Like, at best, like, no other team's going to touch him either. So he'll go on to a practice squad or something, and we can see what we've got with him. But we've invested in youth, and we've invested in 2 actual veterans here. Like, Davis is the starter. Mosley was brought here to be, after year 1, to be the starter, to be a starter, to be the veteran presence on here. We don't need him anymore. So I agree with you. We take the youngsters. I would take Brandon Joseph as well. I trust their abilities to identify these guys, and teams are going to be interested in him now. Especially now we've gone and said we wanted him up last year. So if you're talking, I want a future guy like Joseph over some, I hate to say the term has been with Mosley, but that is what he is now. So I'm in agreement. No dissent there.
Good.
You're cutting Mosley.
Yeah, he's gone. He's just, no. 2 ACLs. Too many.
It just sucks he's not being given the same chance as James Houston. That's all I can say.
What's that? A low? No, I'm a smart fish. I don't go for those.
Right. Marcus had a question, which is blowing smoke up the Lions, but anyway, we'll do it. It's not talked about much, but do we have the best running game in the NFL?
So are we like classifying like run game as the entire thing? O-line, running back. This is not just
wide receiver blocking, tight end blocking, everything.
Yes, we do. I think we have certainly the best set of receivers when it comes to run blocking. We certainly have one of the best O-lines when it comes to run blocking. Because Balding, like, when Baldinger's doing his breakdowns, who's the team he always uses for the run game? Us. There's a reason why. We're technically very good at it. And we're just very dominating. And then we've got the best pair of running backs in the NFL. You know what? I'm not going to be sorry about this. David Montgomery gets 1,000 yards year in, year out without fail. And Jahmyr Gibbs got that many yards working in a rotation last year, and he is special. He's only going to get better, and he made highlight plays. Like, the man destroyed the ankles of Super Bowl winners, like, good players. Like, Winfield's his child now. So I'm not going to be apologetic in saying yes. And we got the best pair of running backs to go with it, and Baltimore fans, shut up, because it's not true.
It's close between us and one other team, and it's not Baltimore for me. It's the 49ers. They're the only team that graded better than us in run blocking last year per PFF. We had 82.1. They had 83.9. They've obviously got Shanahan, which is a different run scheme to ours. We're gap scheme, their zone scheme. They've got damn good run blocking wide receivers as well. It's one of the reasons they took Ricky Pearsall this year, because he's a good run blocker. Debo can play running back as well, like Amon-Ra, Ayuk, if he's still around there. He's decent at it as well. They've got Juwan Jennings, who's a good run blocker as well. Obviously, Kittle. They wanted Brock Wright as well from us. Shows they really value blocking in their tight ends. And obviously, they've got the Cole Shanahan factor. He's probably, other than Ben and Andy Reid, best offensive play caller in the league. So it's between us and the 49ers. But obviously, I've got a homer and say it's us by a smidge.
It's tough. Because it depends, again, it drills down more into what Ant said about what do you mean by run game. Because, like, if you're talking about just pure scares the hell out of me with ball in hand, then, like, the Dolphins are up there with what they have with speed. And if we're taking scheme into account, which is what you have to do if you're going to put the 49ers in there, because if you don't, then there's no way the 49ers are up there. But because scheme makes a big difference, of course the 49ers are up there, especially with Christian McCaffrey. If you take scheme out of it, it's the Lions all day. But just what the Dolphins can do in that sort of 49er style system with Achan and who's the other? Mostert, yeah. And then they've taken a draft pick as well, who's also really quick.
Oh God, yeah.
It is Jalen Wright, and then they've got Jeff Wilson as well. Like that doesn't stand up to R2 in terms of pure running backs, in terms of power and speed, but in terms of scare the life out of me, I think the Dolphins are the ones.
See, this is personal preference for me. I'm gonna power over you type guy. I'm not gonna trick my way past you. I'm just gonna absolutely bludgeon you. So ours and the Ravens would be that way. Like that's bludgeon, blunt force trauma stuff. Like I prefer that. That for me is an ideal run game. When you start adding misconceptions and tricks, yeah, it is a run game, but for me it's not. It's something different.
So for me, where the Dolphins fall down, I didn't name them because they did spring to mind, but I thought about it. Yeah, it's the offensive line and the run blocking from the receivers because their offensive, they've got Terran Armstead, who's really good. Austin Jackson, it's okay. Isaiah Wynn, decent offensive line, can play everywhere, but isn't the best everywhere. Aaron Brewer as their center, Robert Jones at right guard. And obviously, they just lost Robert Hunt, who got a massive payday from the Panthers. I could see them having a bit of a fall down in run blocking from the offensive line. And then, behind, you've obviously got Tyreek, OBJ, and Waddle as the starter receivers. They're okay, but then you look at everyone bounces behind. Eric E., whose name I can't pronounce, River Kirkcraft, Bex Berrios, Andrew Schwartz. There's a load of guys that are just 5'10" speed guys. There's not a lot of physical juice there for me. I know they've got Malik Washington this year, who is a bit of a bigger guy, but for the most part, it's speed, and that's not going to help you in the run blocking. And there's just not a lot there on the offensive line and wide receivers to block for me.
So maybe we should just tamper with this question a little bit. If we're trying to find best run game, right? Well, put it in a situation. If you had a game situation where you had to trust one team in the league and you can only run the football, who's got the best?
100%.
Like this, who are you going to trust if they can't throw the ball and you can only run it? Let's say your backup, your backup quarterbacks and you can't throw whatever. Who has got the best run game? Who has got the most clutch run game? That's the best.
Either
clutch equals best.
Either us or the Ravens with King Henry, because that is going to be fun to watch.
True.
For me, that's when you're talking best run games, it's got to be its ability to be clutch. Because I know our run game last year came up clutch when it needed to.
Running the ball when you're up by 3 with 3 minutes to go.
Or you're chasing it. Like the amount of times we talk about Goff's ability to do the 2-minute drills and that, but we still run the ball in that period. Like Ben Johnson puts the ball in the hands of the running backs and gets those first downs, gets those yards, gets the tempo going. Like that is clutch, and that is when a run game is absolute best. So for me, that is why we're up there, is that, and all these other teams, like the Dolphins, longest playoff drought in forever. I wouldn't trust their system to hang up if it was in the balance and you had to put it in their hands. I would not trust it in the slightest.
They must have the most 10-win seasons without the playoffs in ages, and that makes me really fucking happy. It's just objectively funny that a team can win 10 games and not make the playoffs as many times as they have. Right, next question. Mark Cunningham. Question: does Jake Bates make the longest field goal in NFL history this season?
Hot take, Jake Bates doesn't make a field goal this season because he doesn't play.
Correct.
I take the standard answer. He does, but not for us. He goes to an NFC team and has one of those great weeks that Lions camp kickers always seem to do for the AFC, where they win special teams player of the week and then they disappear into obscurity 2 weeks later. You just look at the list of Lions kickers we've had in camp and what they've done. Randy Bullock, Riley Patterson, Matthew Wright even. All these guys, we seem to try them out, they don't work in, and just go to a random AFC team and have one really damn good week. So I could see it happening, just not for the Lions colours, unfortunately.
Ash, how do you fancy this as a more shithousing take than that? No, he doesn't, but James Turner does for the Packers.
Oh, no! No! Oh.
Sorry, that hurts, doesn't it?
Damn it. Oh. God damn. Right, you made me need alcohol now. How dare you?
I have that effect on people.
You know what the question is we should be asking? Not who makes the longest field goal kick this year. Who makes the most aesthetically pleasing long snap this season?
Oh.
I mean, I think favourite long snapper chat is gonna be tough. Because I don't know any apart from the Lions.
He does really.
He's
got the list behind his computer screen.
Patrick Scales is usually quite good.
Yeah, when I search for Pornhub, it just comes up with long snappers instead.
Sexy long snap montages. Oh yeah,
Jesus
look at that.
Christ. Give me a sec.
Long snapper has great balls.
There's a reason Matt's motto is "Long live the long snapper." Yeah, it's not like the Vulcan thing, live long and prosper. It's live long and snapper. There we go.
Giggity.
I'm looking at our lads to see. Somehow the NFC North, 3 of the 4 teams have 2 long snappers on their rosters right now.
Yes, camp though, innit?
Yeah. Well, you say that literally there's us, Bears,
Matt knows.
Bucks, Cardinals, and the Ravens are the only ones that've got 2. Everyone else has got 1.
I haven't got a clue.
It's tough.
All I know is every single year in Madden, I cut the long snapper.
Exactly. Make the long snap the actual position. This is what I'm saying. I said earlier in Madden.
Like just
make
Frank
it an actual
Ragnar
position.
can snap.
Exactly. That's what I have to keep having to do. So I did it when I played Madden on my Xbox over there last year. I made it so Swordsdale was my long snapper just to get him those extra reps, extra XP.
Hang on. No, you're not going to put the offensive line on long stats. And I say this because when I tricked you all with Don Mulback having the most snaps as an offensive lineman on the Lions this century, you all went, "Oh, you can't say that. It's on special teams, but it counts."
Tight end. Yeah, well,
Don Mulback has the most snaps as an offensive lineman for the Lions this century because he is an offensive lineman. That's what they are.
Tight end. According to Madden, he was a 34 rated
officially, because you all went, "Oh, it'll be Raiola or something like that." No. Don Mulback has the most snaps of any Detroit Lions offensive lineman in the 2000s.
Absolute lies.
And now you're wanting to put offensive linemen there. Well,
that's on Madden. That's on Madden to glitch the system because they don't have long snappers as an actual position.
So long snappers need to actually be valued as long snappers and have an overall grade which doesn't translate to playing on offense, but it does translate to being a snapper. And when offensive linemen are bad at long snapping, that should show up when they play at long snapper. So like you muff a kick because the snap is bad, which
that should be a sack. you class that as a sack, you give up a pressure on a long snap, then you're an offensive lineman. You've let the thing be blocked. That should be like a sack or a pressure or
What
something.
have I? What have I
Okay,
started? What have I
actually,
started? Financial
I'm
position.
here for that take. I'm absolutely here for
Yeah.
that take. If
Special teams sacks. I'm giving something for Ash here. Special teams sacks.
well, traditionally the
I am-
holder is the second quarterback. Traditionally, I know now more often than not it's a punter, but
Yeah.
but it used to be a second quarterback because they could turn and throw the ball when they catch it, right? So if you manage to hit the holder with the ball, that's a sack. I'm here for it. It's a great take.
Yeah. There we go. Special teams sacks is now a thing. Could be college stat.
Yeah. Okay. Kneecap Biting asks, rumor mill on Sports Illustrated suggests that the Bears may trade Khalil Herbert. What are your thoughts? Not for the Lions, just generally. That will mean they depend on Swift and Roschon Johnson Eek. What do you think?
They'll get nothing for him. I mean, what is the market for running backs?
It's dead. Even
And-
someone of his caliber, it's absolutely dead.
And opposition teams will go, oh, you want to trade him? Like, so you're telling me as trade he has value, yet you bought in DeAndre Swift on a big contract because he's not good enough for you? So why are you trading him? They didn't need to bring Swift in. That was a dumb move by the Bears. Like, their running back room was quite good last year. I mean, they got Donta Foreman to God knows how many yards last year, but Herbert looks really good. So I would just say as an opponent GM, I'm like, well, why am I giving you picks for a guy who is not good enough for you? You're the Chicago Bears who've been the dumpster fire of the NFC North for the last 2 years. And he's not good enough for you and you want me to give up a pick for you. Like, I give him a 2028 7th or something like that, just to avoid competition with him going into free agency, but he'll get naught.
Yeah, I saw. Well, for any, I believe they should be playing Roschon Johnson as a starter anyway. Like, I know Herbert was really damn good last year. He was one of the, I think, 7 running backs in the league to force more than 25 missed tackles on about 175 carries. But Roschon Johnson's the workhorse back there, and Swift, well, we all know Swift, he'll run into his offensive lineman more than he'll actually have a good run. But yeah, if they're not happy with him, I could see him get traded to. Honestly, and I saw it on Twitter a couple of days ago. So it's kind of interesting. It's popped up here. Him and Dallas. I know they just re-signed Zeke, but you look behind Zeke, you've got Rico Dowell, Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn, Snoop Connor, Malik Davis, and Nathaniel Pete. They have Nathaniel at running back for a team that's always needs to have a good offensive line and good run game.
I think it's a great take.
Oh, hang on. Don't they have the old Tulane running back there?
Deuce Vaughn.
No.
That's Kansas State.
But I thought they had Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, to have Deuce Vaughn, yeah. At least everyone to have Zeke, Rico Dowell, Royce Freeman, who had a couple of good games for Denver 4 years ago. Deuce Vaughn, Snoop Connor, Malik Davis, Nathaniel Pete.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Ash. I think it's a really good take about a potential landing spot. Okay, here's a question. Given that DeAndre Swift's cap savings in his 3-year deal are minus 8.2 million, 550 grand with 8.7 mil dead cap, or 7.5 million in year 3 out of 8.8 million, how long does DeAndre Swift last on the Bears?
Retires medically like Kerryon Johnson after a year and a half.
Oh, that's mean. You horrible person.
I don't know how long he'll last there. For me, that signing is they're panicking.
Oh, just by the way, 8th highest paid running back in the league at the moment.
Yeah. And they wouldn't pay Monty the same for consistent 1,000-yard seasons. They could have got Monty for less or a guaranteed 1,000 yards, which Swift will not guarantee you because he's built like glass. That, for me, shows how much they're panicking. Because everyone goes, oh, the future's bright and rosy there. But when you've had 2 basement finishers, a third, like the head coach is certainly gone. He's going to be on a tiny leash this year. And you're going to start asking questions about the GM as well, because the Vikings are rebuilding. The Packers started their rebuild at the same time, and they're ahead of them. Like, they're panicking. That's why they're spending so much on players. We built this team organically with youth before spending money. They didn't even start building with youth before they started splashing money. And it's desperate. They've still not got an offensive line, like a good starting five. D-line's still questionable. You've got so many questions there, and a perfectly good running back room that you had last year, you've ruined by bringing in a guy who's really expensive, and you had no reason to do so. So he'll not last long there. Once Eberflus is gone, new guy will come in. They'll start jettisoning contracts, trying to get rid of some of these guys. Yeah, I reckon a year and he's done.
I think he'll get the 2, but the second year he'll be a decidedly bit part player. I think they'll find out this year that it was a very poor decision. I mean, he had a poor start at Philly, picked it up a bit, and then had a poor finish, if I remember rightly. Something like that. In the poor games he had, he looked woeful. Like, he has not got better since his best Lions days, for sure. So
the odds before contact was huge. Like, they were just boring out lanes for him. They could have put me or you in there and we'd have got some good yardage. Like, when they stopped being so good, he just doesn't have the nous to get in the yards on his own. Certainly not like Gibbs does. Certainly not like Monty does.
all right. Fletch Lives Daily asks, if Detroit does not make the playoffs this season, which I think people should recognise is within the realm of possibility. I think a lot of Lions fans think that playoffs is nailed on, given what happened last year. And frankly, it's just not. It just is even. It just is a possibility. The Lions could not win the division, and the number of wins they have might mean they lose out on a wildcard spot. So it's a tough schedule, and we may get hit with the injury bug or whatever. Assume the Lions do not make the playoffs. Does Ben Johnson stay with the team in that scenario? Because I kind of think that's the one scenario where, personally, I think he walks and goes and takes the head coaching job. Now, one of the reasons why the Lions might not make it is because maybe the offense falls off, and then maybe does he get the offers?
Yeah.
However, it might just be that people take the resume he's built with the Lions and say, okay, that was an off season, maybe Goff gets injured, or, things just don't, but we still believe in him as a coach. Like, he's put enough on tape now that we believe in him as a head coach, so we'll give him an offer. Especially maybe a team that's on the way down. He may look at the Lions and think, it's a project now going in the wrong direction. I've stayed for the project, it's been ascending, but a step backwards is now not a step I want to take, so I'm going to jump ship at this time because it's right for me. I think this is the scenario where Ben Johnson leaves, and I think any other scenario will probably convince him to stay because he wants to be here. It's very, very clear Ben Johnson loves being in Detroit. So what's the thing that could get him to jump? Not being as good as you want him to be.
And dare I give a landing spot?
Go for it.
Buffalo. They don't get past the AFC championship. Well, they don't get past the
He's
AFC
on a hot
championship.
seat.
McDermott's definitely a hot seat, and so much I hate to say it, imagine Ben Johnson with Josh Allen.
And any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if we don't make the playoffs this season, I reckon safely now, the reason behind that, I think in 85% of scenarios, it's because of the defense that we don't get there. There is a very small margin of, but the only thing that could really banjax it is if Goff gets injured. Then it goes up. But I think odds are if we don't make the playoffs, it's not going to be Ben Johnson's fault. It's going to be Aaron Glenn's, and he's going to be out of a job, and he certainly won't be getting any head coaching gigs ever if he has a terrible defense for fourth year in a row. So, yeah, he will be gone, I think. That will be enough. As long as we're still making progress, like if we make a Super Bowl this year and we lose in the Super Bowl, not manifesting things here, I think he'd stay again because we're getting closer and closer and closer, and he'd give it one more year. But if you start taking steps backwards, then guys like right now, it's time to jump.
I mean, okay, here's an even more interesting follow-up question. how long does Ben Johnson have to stay before it becomes more likely that he is the successor to Dan Campbell than he is to be a head coach elsewhere in the league because Dan decides to retire?
He's
No,
not going to
don't get
retire.
sad. Well,
He's not going to retire. I think we are, even like if we didn't make the playoffs this year, like there is nothing Dan Campbell can do this year which would make him fireable. I think short of going winless and just everything completely imploding, we could win 4 or 5 games and Dan would stay because he has built up enough cred to do so. I think it would just be too long for Ben to wait here. Like this is essentially his last year here. Let's face it, really. And as Ash says, there's probably going to be more. There's probably going to be some more tempting jobs on the market. Like the last couple of cycles, there's not been really that many tempting jobs on there. And other Chargers, but historically a bad franchise. Really.
Do you think the Dolphins could come available?
Like, yeah.
Maybe.
Because everyone like goes after them every year saying they're amazing. But again, longest playoff win drought in the NFL now that we've, gotten that there. He's not actually done anything. McCarthy will certainly be gone. If like Dallas would be a thing for him, would he want to go and play with Dak there? Buffalo is certainly on the table because McDermott, as well as his on the field stuff, his off the field stuff, that's going to get kicked out sooner rather than later. Some of the comments he makes. So you could look at some of the premier jobs with the premier quarterbacks available that will put resources at his disposal that we've just not had this year. I think next year you're going to see some very tempting jobs going. So
let me add one more to that toasting list.
Don't say the Bears.
No. Big Red retires after getting one more ring.
Yeah, I mean, I suggested Kansas City way back. I think that makes a lot of sense. But in terms of Ben Johnson being a matchup guy, getting his players in position, I think the challenge that Miami give people is the sort of thing that Ben Johnson does. And given that he used to work for Miami, that's the one that makes the most sense for me.
Yeah.
Also, if you're talking about matchups, apart from Josh Allen running the ball, which they're trying to stop him doing, there's no reason to go to Buffalo. They're a team on the way down, and actually the expectations will still be high, but with a team that just isn't good enough anymore. So I don't see Buffalo being a thing.
No.
Yeah.
In response to Colton, all I would say about Dan wanting to be Dallas head coach, I think there is more. I think there's a bigger percentage that he'd do the A&M job before the Dallas job. I think if at the end of his career he'd want to go down and coach the kids at his alma mater first before going to Dallas. Like that is one of the it's still a premier job, even in college football. Like that, I just feel like if he's going to spend some more time with his family back in Texas, etc., and I think there's more chance of him going to A&M than the Cowboys.
All right, Brian Shook asks a question, says, I personally would send 3 first-round picks to the Raiders for Max Crosby. How much Xanax am I on?
Ooh.
I would say enough Xanax. Dial it back.
Stop mixing the Xanax and the Viagra.
You have a problem.
I mean, 3 firsts for Max Crosby or tank for James Pierce. I mean, I wouldn't be able to decide between that. I think I'd rather tank for a college prospect than give away 3 years worth of firsts. I'd rather have one bad year and give Aiden an elite prospect with him next season than do that. That's just too much to give up. Like, we've got a nice window where we've got all our first-round picks. We don't need to do something silly like that right now.
With 3 first-round picks, you can move up to number 1 overall. Most of the time.
Like I would rather go upwards for James Pierce next year and give the 3 picks doing that than go for Max Crosby. I'd rather do that.
Yeah, I'm on the draft side of things as well. Totally not because the FSU have another good first round prospect this year at edge.
All right, that takes care of that. Lost Oceans asks, what are you most looking forward to seeing in training camp, and why is it Dan Campbell doing up downs?
honestly, and this is the sicko in me, people might be able to guess what it is. Actually seeing how the new kickoff rules are going to work and what we do to adapt to it, because that could be, again, we've got one of the best special teams coordinators in the league. Let's see how that little edge can really help us in games, because as I keep saying, special teams is becoming more and more important, being that 1% that could win us and lose us games. Let's see how that goes.
Oh, training camp. There's a lot of things I want to see there. The thing I'm most excited about. Well, I say excited about, curious about. I want to see how they use Varkey, because I still hate the pick, and I still don't know what we're gonna do with him. And like, I need to know. I need to see the plan with him to see what they're gonna do, because I still don't like it. So there'd be him, and then there'd be Hooker. I want to see how Hooker does, because it's gonna be big for Hooker as well.
I'm excited to see Jameson Williams because
Yeah.
I'm finding out gradually that I am the person still most hurt in my fandom with him. Not in terms of being disappointed in the pick or disappointed in his production, but being the most cautious when it comes to projecting what he's going to do next year, because I do think that it is copium when people are saying, I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season and 10 receiving touchdowns. Like, I think people are saying that, one, because they want him to succeed, two, because they want to justify the pick that we made and going up for him, and three, because if we don't, it means the Lions are maybe just not as good as we think they are. Because I think we need him to be good for the Lions overall to be as effective as they want to be a Super Bowl contender. He needs to be good. But I think with what he's proven, he's shown flashes. But that's it. Like, he had a really good end to the season. But even then it was flashes and limited rep time, and maybe that's all he gets, because with Laporta and Amon-Ra and whatever. But when he gets his opportunities, he needs to take them. And with the spring that he had, let's put on full pads. Let's see what happens when DBs are actually really trying to hit him in training camp. Tell me, show me that your hands have gotten better. Show me that your ball tracking has gotten better. You kind of did the ball tracking bit in spring, but let's see what happens when someone's trying to put their shoulder into you.
I think he's going to put his shoulder in and hit him even harder. Like, J-Mo's got no to prove strength-wise. This team has everything to prove to J-Mo rather than the other way around. I'm going to stick with that.
I think that's fair. I think that we've been misusing him generally. Like, he should be our Debo. In some ways. I don't mean totally, because he's our better deep ball guy. But the way that the 49ers use Debo is a way that we could use J-Mo, and it would be very effective. So I don't get the reason why we wouldn't do that, because that doesn't rely on the stuff that he used to do badly.
Exactly. Look at what the 49ers do. 49ers keep putting the ball in the hands of their playmakers. They give it to McCaffrey, they give it to Debo. We're in a wonderful situation here where we can give it to Amon-Ra, we can give it to Gibbs, we can give it to J-Mo. Like, you use them all. Like, San Francisco don't go. I know they hit odd guys here, there for the most part, but for the most part, they rely on their main threat. They just say, here's the ball, go do your damage with it. And that's what they need to do with it. They need to let J-Mo into this rotation with that.
All right, next question. Bradley Mustaine asks, should we stick with Hendon Hooker at quarterback 2, or do you think we should sign a veteran quarterback? Well, you two both have a take about quarterback 2. Would you just like to recant that for me before I have a look at free agents?
Sudfeld is QB2.
There we go. And you're in agreement, aren't you?
Yeah, what I said.
Yeah, okay. So Hooker isn't quarterback 2 because he's not quite there yet. I do think he will be at some point this season. But I think that highlights the question even more acutely. Should we have an upgrade over Nate Sudfeld as the backup, given where Goff is at the moment and given where the rest of the team is at the moment? So let's take a look at the quarterbacks still available in free agency. And there's one player who last year made more than $2.5 million, and that is Ryan Tannehill. The remaining quarterbacks are Brian Hoyer, Blaine Gabbert, AJ McCarron, Matt Barkley, Trevor Siemian, Logan Woodside, Philippe Franks, Felipe Franks, Ben DiNucci, and Garrett Gilbert.
See, that sounds like you've just read out the list of starting linebackers in the CFL. Like that just feels like that list you've written out there. So the only reason I'd want Ryan Tannehill on this team is so we could put a picture up of Goff as a starter, Tannehill sitting on the bench, going back to all those tweets a few years ago where people said Tannehill was better than Goff and saying to them, I'm sorry, you said what? Just how wrong were you? Be wrong in your wrongness because you're wrong. That's the only reason I do that. At the end of the day, this is mute. Like what we both said is if you want someone to come in during a game when Goff gets hurt and can steady your offense for the remainder of a game, it's Sudfeld. If Goff gets hurt and has to miss games and you need a starter for the next game, it's Hooker. Because he's had a week to prepare and get ready, and he's obviously going to be the better chance for you to win games. There are two very differing game scenarios here. So, is that the Italian thing? Do you want the Tommy DeVito?
We'll go for it for Ben DiNucci, even though he's still Italian, isn't he?
Make Chris happy.
It would make Chris happy. No, we don't need an upgrade because the upgrade doesn't exist at value.
No.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could, but we can't, so we won't.
No. And especially this late in the cycle, just stick with it. Like if you bring a new guy in, he's got to learn from scratch, and there's just no point.
I mean, Jamarcus Russell's free now after he got fired by that high school.
Yeah.
Stealing a living.
All these years later, things never change.
Yeah. Jeff Hurley, the biggest benefactor of the show, asks, one of the current defensive end room, which of them do you see emerging as the main man opposite Hutch? I like Pascal, he says.
Same.
I'm going to say this, and not many people are going to like it. I don't think he's on the roster. I don't think the best person opposite Hutch is on this roster. And that's me. I love Houston. Pascal, not so much. You've got, like I said, when we talked about, when we did free agents, who we're going to re-sign next year, etc. And I said I wasn't going to give, like the corners, I'm not going to give a penny to a corner before they prove something to me. I'm not going to give a penny to a D-end until they prove that they can be at least half reliable in this rotation, because none of them are reliable. And it's hard to say, because again, I just said earlier, if all these guys are healthy and playing well, it's a really good rotation. But history says history's against all three of them right now. And I just have this icky feeling that we're going to have to sort of struggle through this year with it again. And next year in the draft, we are going to prioritize, or in free agency, because we've got a lot of free agency money, we are going to prioritize a serious guy to come above Hutch. It just feels like it's run its course for most of them.
I think Edge is my favourite to be our round one pick next year. For sure. It just feels right. But, I mean, as a dark horse guy, I'd kind of like Levi to make a run for that role because it feels like it's available. And with the weight that he's put on, I feel like he's in the right realm for it. And if his back is holding up that he can take it with the weight on, why not? I mean, he is the right height weight for an edge. A big end. I know that's really dark horse, but wouldn't it be fun if Levi was the big end?
It would be, yeah. I mean, him and Ringo did get thrown into that conversation.
That's why I mentioned it.
Ago.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at free agency now. We might have money to spend, but Jesus Christ, if we're going to spend the money, it's going to be Trey Flowers 2.0 because there's not a lot there unless you want like Tank, Lawrence, Matthew Judon. That's about it. It's just like an aging Khalil Mack, Hassan Reddick, who is okay, but 31, Josh Sweat, Chase Young, Charles Menu, Shaq Barrett, Davenport, Anthony Nelson, Lorenzo Carter. There's not a lot there. So it probably will be the draft. So I'm all for Edge being our first round pick next year because there is quite a few good Edge prospects. But Yeah, right now it'd be Pascal for me because we saw it in flashes last year. That he did have a good couple of weeks and then have a down week and then a good couple of weeks. So maybe just being consistently getting the reps will help him and being having a healthy off season to actually do trading camp. So Pascal's my pick there, but yeah, I could also see it where just no one does, and we just have to reset the edge room again next year. Keep Hutch, and
I mean,
everyone else gets flushed out.
That's definitely the most likely thing.
The other possibility we've not considered here is if we are playing well, but we're struggling in the edge room, we wait for a desperate team at the trade deadline. Because
well, that comes under your answer if he's not here yet, I guess.
Yeah, I like that's another. I don't think trade is like, especially like we said, some of these bigger teams, these contending teams, might be firing head coaches and starting to chuck buildings down. I mean, you look at the Bills; they fire McDermott and they're not playing well. Few guys there potentially, it's.
Well, you want to trade for Von Miller?
Don't do that. Don't be like that.
Von's literally the only guy there, though.
Why are you the way you are? I take Gregory Rousseau if he carries on playing the way he does. But at least as a short-term thing. But I think it feels to me, again, we've not done much trading. We've kept the assets intact, really. Like we're going to buy at the trade deadline this year. This is going to be the first year. I can't remember the last time we bought the trade deadline properly.
Damian Harrison in 2018, but that was when we also traded away Golden Tate.
Snacks. Oh, that is a long time ago.
Yeah. So you saying that, I think you're in the right division. I could see Salah being fired.
Oh God, here we go. He's on a rookie deal, Ash. They're not going to let him go.
They've drafted Will McDonald though, and they haven't really been using him. Give me.
What, JJ2?
JJ2.
So yeah, that's going to be my prediction. We are going to trade for somebody like Pascal and Houston, and maybe have a Davenport. They've got till the trade deadline to prove they're something, and that we don't need to upgrade that position. I think Holmes goes for it otherwise, and I say we might see unprecedented movement of big teams this year who are going to start trading away assets for the future, and we're probably going to get it cut down. We've got cap space available, so we can take on a little bit of cap as well. So that's, yeah. My bold take is Hutch's partner is coming through the trade deadline.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it as well, and I hate it. I don't really know who to pick as someone I want to come via trade. Who's got an abundance of edges? Who's a 49?
The Dolphins have drafted loads recently, haven't they?
Yeah, they're outside linebackers types though. That's the issue because I'm looking like I know our lads. You have to keep flicking between like D and D outside linebacker because obviously some teams are stuff. So like Dolphins have got Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Shaq Barrett, you
know what would be fun if the Bengals suck, they fire Zach Taylor, and we go after Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah,
what for Hendrickson
first?
And I don't care. Trey Hendrickson and Aiden Hutchinson. Like, that would be something. We are in our Super Bowl window now. I know we're building for the future still and we want long-term sustainability, but the fact is our cap and, draft pick status means that we can be a little risky this year and still not affect the long-term build of this team. We can take a leap in there. And quite frankly, Edge, we're not paying any money out of them. I know Hutch is on his rookie contract and that, but everyone else is on one-year deals, not that much money. We have not got much money invested in the Edge room. We can cut commission even further to, get rid of some more money, whatever. But, like, that is where you can take a swing. So, it's, yeah. You trade for a bona fide talent there. We are a team that now has the young core to trade for bona fide talent. The Bears are doing it, and they're way behind in their build. We near a Super Bowl, and if we feel like the guy's there and the price is right, you go get him right now, and you deal with the consequences later. Because if they can win a Super Bowl this year, screw it, let them go again. Go back with your young guy. It doesn't matter. You can, you win a Super Bowl. Things are so much easier afterwards.
All right, I've got a fluffy question from the people to finish with, and then I've got a question of my own to finish with after that. For the people in the live chat, we may stay online for a little bit longer after the audio pod finishes, but we've been going a while, so I think we should wrap this up. Right, the fluffy question from the chat is from David Reinfurt, who asks, over or under 6 flea flickers this year?
Under. I'm meant to be saying that.
I mean, how many did we do last year?
Not a lot.
5? 4 or 5? Depends what you think is a flea flicker. Is a double reverse handoff to the quarterback a flea flicker? Because I kind of think it is.
Yeah.
So, hang on. Can we define it as something that makes Jeremy Reisman facepalm?
Yes.
Oh, in that case, then
because
over.
he hates flea flickers.
That's over because I can see the JRM to insert special teams person that happening again this year. That fake punt that happened against Dallas.
Yeah.
Which is, fake punts or flea flickers. I'll put the over on that. We can sneak Hendon Hooker on the field as the holder and just go nuts with it.
True.
Fun to have Hooker as the holder. Oh.
So what you're saying is you want a Hooker to hold your balls?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would do the business. Right, my question. Before I get too excited. My question to you guys to finish this off is, give me your dark horse candidate for the NFC. And why?
Ooh.
And mine isn't really a dark horse anymore, but I kind of feel like they are in the hearts and minds of people still.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm going to hit myself for this, aren't I? Arizona. Kyler Murray
I love it. I'm here for it.
Kyler Murray comes back. It's like that when they traded for New Hopkins. It still comes together on offense for them. Obviously, they've got a great running back now to take the load off in the rushing game. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And that defense is fairly competent, and they just win enough games to sneak it into the playoffs. And then once you're in the dance, anything can happen.
I love the take. I'm quite high on what they could be this season, but maybe not that high. And
so there is a team who's been very bad in recent years who's going all in this year. And as much as I don't want it to happen because I think the quarterback's completely fraudulent, Kirko Chains and the Falcons, they're in a terrible conference. They could win that conference easy, get themselves a nice cushy home tie in the divisional round, and then look their way into a win somewhere else to get to the game. So,
do you know what the over-under? Sorry. Oh, actually, no. Falcons are the favourites, aren't they, for the NFC? Sorry, ignore me.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah. I want Kirko Chains to fail there because I want people to understand just how fraudulent the man is. He's going to go down as one of the greatest con men in the history of the NFL, and I want that to stay intact. So I do not want this to happen, but they've gone all in. They've paid a lot of money out there. They've actually drafted pretty well. They've done free agency pretty well. They're in a decent position. And like I say, they're in a terrible conference, and the terrible conference teams, they can find a way through.
The Falcons' win-loss is set at 9.5 over-under.
I mean, I take the under. I think it's going to be a terrible division. I think they're all going to end with 8, 7, 6 wins like they have been recently, and someone's going to sneak through. But
I still have the Bucks winning the division. Just say it now. Nothing much has changed, and I believe in their quarterback more.
So is that your answer for the dark horse?
No.
I'm looking at the Falcons' schedule, and that's not a good opener.
So
that's not good opening for you.
The team I have for the dark horse made the playoffs, which feels slightly unfair that they're in dark horses, but I still don't think teams are taking them seriously.
Oh, don't be in conference. Don't say
Yeah,
that.
It has to be in
Don't
conference. 'cause
swear.
it's NFC.
No,
Do
no,
not
no,
swear.
no. It's not in division.
Sorry, in
it's not in
division.
division.
Oh, do we play them this year?
Yeah, game 1.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
LA Rams.
yeah.
I kind of just feel like it was a blip. They've rebuilt really effectively. They've got the weapons. They've got the defense despite Aaron Donald retiring. I think they could make a run.
They drafted well.
They did. And they've got maybe,
Personally.
outside of our own, they've got the head coach in terms of, not that I would pick for my own team, but it's like Jose Mourinho at his peak in soccer. If you wanted me to pick a coach at their peak for a one-off game, he's right up there, Sean McVay. He's got to be. He might be in the top
He
two.
tried.
in the,
He
in
tried
the
his
league.
best to throw away that Super Bowl run. The team won in spite of him on that Super Bowl run. Like, no, I trust Shanahan more, and Shanahan's never won one. But at least his teams consistently play well and keep getting there. But you can't tell me that Super Bowl, they should have lost to the Bengals. They should have lost at least 2 of their playoff games because they were terrible. And they kept taking leads, and then they kept not scoring points and nearly throwing it away and having to rely on Aaron Donald to do all the dirty work for them. Like, no Donald, no Super Bowl. They were one-man team that year.
All right, we're going to take this conversation off the air. If you've been listening to the audio pod, we'll be back with a college football podcast tomorrow, so please do listen out for that one. Any questions in between listening to this and that airing, please get them into us. Hit us up on our Discord channel, DM us on Twitter, however you can get the questions to us. Anything and everything on the table for Ant and the College Football Show. And then we'll be back next week with a to-be-determined schedule, to-be-determined subject matter for the main show. Just wanted me to thank Anthony Fitzpatrick and Ashley Soden. Follow us on our socials, Royal Lions UK. But for now, let's go Lions One Pride.
Recording stopped.
And we're still here, everybody.
I have something I'd like to discuss while we're here now.
Go for it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, for you, how bad is Trevor Lawrence's contract?
Which side of the scale is bad?
Let's say 10's bad. Like 10's bad on this scale, or 1, it's fine, he deserves it, it's a steal. 10 is he's overpaid and it's really bad value.
5? Like, I would not want to be the team that doesn't pay him and his career works, and I'd rather take the swing thinking he'll work out, and then you have to do the Browns Baker Mayfield thing of letting him go and eating it for a while, than be the team that lets him go and succeeds elsewhere. At the end of the day, kind of like with cornerback, if you've showed me it before, I believe in it a bit more. Like what the Browns did with Baker Mayfield, and then what happened with him at the Panthers and then at LA before what he did at Tampa. Like, it just proved that quarterbacks can have blips and you can jettison them too early. And the Browns should never have gotten rid of Baker Mayfield. Like, if you go back in time, you have a look at them now with Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield, you should just pay Baker Mayfield and keep it. So, Lawrence, he showed me he was good enough in a good portion of the games that they had, got injured, and people were judging him for how he played when he was injured, which is exactly what happened to Baker. So, Lawrence is the new Baker, apart from Lawrence is physically more gifted. And if you ask me what's the likelihood it works out long term and you think it's a good deal in retrospect, I think that's less than 50%. But I think the fan base hates it if you don't make this deal because the alternative is just so much worse. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to tell your fan base, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to rebuild again. Like, fuck that. Like, at least Lawrence gives you a chance.
It's just this whole thing, obviously, isn't it? With QB contracts and their value, because everyone outside Lions Land doesn't like the Goff one, but it's like, he's earned that deal. Lawrence has not earned that deal.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And then Jordan Love's coming up. Like, how funny would that be if they paid him more than Goff? for half a season. Like, if you're the Packers and you're risked with losing him in free agency next year, or he demands $55 million a year now, like, what do you do if you're the Packers? Because they're usually fiscally, tight.
Yeah.
They're tight arse. They're Northerners. They're like yeah. They're like Ryan McCluskey. Like, the wallet hasn't seen daylight for so long that subspecies have been growing inside their wallet. They don't like to pay money when they don't have to. But what would you do? Like, you say this, you've got to pay what the quarterback could potentially be or risk going over again. For the small sample size Jordan Love's giving you, you've really got to pay him now. Did you pay him more than Jared Goff, or do you not?
They kind of have to, because his agent will not settle for anything less. They've entered over a barrel.
But if it was you, would you just tell him to hit the
Yeah,
button?
I'll tell him to get fucked, but unfortunately, I'm not good against.
I mean, it would be hilarious if they did. Like,
So
if they pay him more,
they have to pay him. They have to pay him. They got no choice. So he's in, without having proven it over a long period of time, he's in the Dak Prescott position of having the team over a barrel. Like, him and Dak could both be the first $60 million player per year.
And this is like my point. Everyone really hammers on us for the amount we're paying Jared Goff, a guy who's been to 2 NFC championship games with 2 different teams and has rebuilt his career from absolutely nothing. Yet teams are throwing stupid money like this at quarterbacks who have done nothing in comparison to T-Law. Like you said, you're throwing money at a wall hoping he is what he once was, but he's never done it in the playoffs. With Love, you're paying for what, 8 or 9 good games last year, and you're paying more than that, and you're like, and then you're expecting us to go, oh well, that's money well spent. It's just, our deal just looks really good if teams are having to pay stupid money like this and they're having to take such swings.
I didn't know this was 2017 again, and us having to defend our QB contract.
Oh, I remember when Staff got his last one.
Yeah, the 5 year,
Massive.
135. 5 years, 135 mil. Yeah, so it's 27 mil average, and everyone's like, "You can't be playing him that much." As everyone won a playoff game, and then you within a year and a half, that was like the 10th highest QB contract.
Yeah, and what? This time in a year, Goff's going to be what? He's probably going to be 10 again. Oh, well, he'll be going to close. Dak will get paid more.
I don't know whether you guys are watching the football in the background, but do you know that there's 2 minutes to go in the Portugal-Slovenia game and it's 0-0?
Yes. Come on, Slovenia.
Absolutely fantastic. I love it. I'm here for it. David Reinfeldt's making police comments about the hooker holder comment, saying Interpol open up, which is just great. I love that. Kneecap Biting saying Mahomes restructured to 45 APY now. Okay.
Well, he got 10 years though. Like he got such a stupid. I mean, like
he's going to get redone anyway. Like
of course it is.
They have to, yeah.
Of course, they're going to restructure it every year. The dead cap's going to be humongous by the time he's done. But he's
they'll just rip it up and do a new contract with the same guaranteed money. Then it doesn't matter. You don't need to do restructures.
No, but they'll have already restructured this deal already. They've already restructured this deal.
But if you absorb that guaranteed money in a new contract, then it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, they'll redo him at some point. Probably when they stop winning Super Bowls and they have to tear everything down. They'll get rid of all the other hefty contracts, but they'll keep paying the quarterback.
Just for Jordan Love, I think he'll get top of the market. I think he'll be on 55 this offseason.
55's tied. We're tied for first with Burrow and Lawrence.
For 8 or 9 games. And they call us stupid for giving off 52 for everything.
The thing is, I'd rather pay Love that money than Kirk. Because at least Love did it when it mattered most.
I'd rather someone pay Kirk that money so I can carry on laughing about how much he gets paid for being rubbish.
Okay, fine. But like with Kirk, you're going to get the regular season wins. With Love, he came on hot at the end of the season and during the playoffs. And when do you want a QB to get hot? At least he showed me it once. Kirk has never done that in his career.
So let's switch. If this was us, and we were in this choice now with him having seen so little and having to pay him that much, what would you do it?
No. I would... You know the plan that someone stupidly said the Lions should do with Goff and tag him 3 times?
Yeah.
That's where the Packers are right now. You should, on purpose, not re-sign him and tag him. And that's the way to keep the cost down, because his asking price is going to be higher than that. And if you end up in 2 years' time having to do the Dak thing of overpaying him to get him to a long-term deal, fine, because then at least he proved it over a longer period of time. But it's worth waiting and seeing and getting behind the market and having to pay too much than making the mistake at the top of the market now.
Like I say, at least with Lawrence, you can justify it's been a few years. With Love, you can't. It's...
Yeah.
Fun thing about that as well is if they want to wait for the draft, Jesus Christ, it's a lot of dart throws.
Cheers, Lost Oceans. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for lots of the questions. That was... Well, it helped carry the show.
And before you go, Lost Oceans, I'm pretty sure he asked me about my hot take for in college next year. If you're still listening, it's not a playoff thing.
Why don't you leave it for Why don't you leave it for tomorrow?
Okay, I'll leave it for tomorrow. Okay,
you got Q&A for tomorrow. Leave the question for tomorrow, damn sake.
Sure.
Oh, it's not a question. It's just a comment. It's not a question I've been asked. But anyway, I can leave it for them.
Okay, well, question for you then. I'm making it a question. I want to hear who you think the playoff teams are going to be.
You can't ask me that now.
Okay.
That's a bit tough, yeah.
I need to preview the team. I literally don't know all these teams right now. Ask me about the CUSA, fine, but with so many of these, I don't know.
Okay,
the Big Ten
here's a better
year,
question for you. How many group of 5 teams are in the playoffs?
One.
Out of 14?
Out of 12.
12.
Out of 12, sorry.
It's 14 in 2 years. 1. Group of 5 champion will get in. That's it. It'll be like it is for the New Year's 6 games. There's 1 spot left for a G5 team. There'll be 1 spot for the group of 5 champion this year. Probably be
Liberty.
No, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But as for the actual expanded ones, my hot take will be half of them will be from the SEC, because that's why it's been done, to get more SEC teams in there. But the Big Ten, you just don't know. The Big Ten's actually going to be a competitive conference now. That's the one good thing that comes out of all this realignment stuff, is it's not just going to be wait until the end of the season until Michigan, Ohio. It's been, and I hate to say this for those fans, it's been the most boring Power 5 conference now for years, because all it is Michigan and Ohio State, and you've got to wait till the end of the season for them to play one another.
I will say it's the conference I feel happiest drafting from, though, because I feel like it's the most pro-ready.
It is. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's some incredibly good players from there.
More so than the SEC as well.
It is boring as a spectacle. The Pac-12 was the standard last year.
Pac-12 was really good, yeah.
And in terms of fun to watch, Pac-12 and Big 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy that the Pac-12 dissolved because they couldn't get a TV deal, but it was the most fun conference to watch last year. But the Big Ten's going to be competitive this year, which is going to be good. There's no conferences this year either, so all those scrub teams in the East, they're not going to get a path through to it's going to be a competitive championship game, tougher schedules. It's going to be good. This is actually what it needs. Out of all the big ones, they needed this more than anybody, because there was no second tier of team in there. Now there is.
I'm presuming with the playoffs, the team from the Pac-2 doesn't get an automatic spot, despite the fact that the Power 5 conferences were getting a spot.
They recently redid the rules, to make sure that doesn't happen.
They can't do that. And the trouble is they don't really have they won't have a championship game to get them in there either. Because you've ideally got to win your championship to get in, and they're not part of the Mountain West one. So, no, not this year.
And they're not good enough to make it otherwise.
They're not. No. Unless one of them goes unbeaten and does something crazy. Because, they're still playing Oregon and teams like that. So, but odds are no. But at least half of them will be SEC. I know that much. That's why they've done it. Who they are, I don't know yet, because it's a highly competitive conference this year.
Marcus asked about the US presidential debate, and I do not want to make this a political show because I'm a fairly political person, and I've stayed up for every presidential election since 2004, as in through the night and into the morning, taking the day off the next day to stay up for it. I love US politics, and I love UK politics, with the UK general election being held on Thursday. It is something that I love very, very much, and I wish more people were engaged in. Not in a way to have a go at people. I'm not about that. But because the policymakers of your country, it matters, and people should be more engaged. He asked whether I watched a presidential debate, and I said I don't hate myself that much. And that's a low bar right now, because I don't know if you saw last week's show, but I'm not in the best place personally in my head. But even I don't hate myself that much to watch Biden-Trump. I mean, whether you like Trump or not, whether you like Biden or not, what a shit show. Sorry, guys, but like, for the self-proclaimed greatest country in the world, do better. Like, we all love America, but come on!
They get very tetchy over this. Let's not impede on that.
But at least I'm attacking both, so it's okay.
No, let's just stay away from things like that. Let's attack the Bears instead.
I really don't think we should be putting up the Bears for president. Dan
Campbell for president. It's all about grit, man. Fucking love it.
Presidential decree: everyone must eat kneecaps.
Why would we do that as a thing? Which NFL head coach would you have as president if you could have one? And this is just then a theoretical thing.
It doesn't count, but because it's a former one, and it's the obvious answer. Bill.
No. Come on. How dry would those press conferences be? Fuck me.
Dry? Are you forgetting the one where he spent 25 minutes explaining the history of special teamers in the league?
I said dry, didn't I?
Yeah, and quite frankly, they've already had a president in the past that's had a scandal with much younger women whilst he's in office, so maybe not go down that road again.
Love that.
US president sneaking out the back room of a 22-year-old's house, that's probably not going to go down well in the polls.
Sure, the polls would love it. Hey, there's nothing more heroic in America than an old guy managing to bang young girls because they're awesome. That's a true American hero. Anyway, I go Kyle Shanahan because actually he just makes great people underneath him. His scheme's fantastic, and it just be built right. Like, okay, maybe the result at the end isn't fantastic, but everyone thinks really well of the people underneath him. Kneecap biting says, no, you cannot get the Dark Lord of the NFL as president. The Dark Lord! That's harsh.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is available here.
Yeah, we're not doing auditions for Emperor Palpatine. Oh, mind you, that'd be. Oh, Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick as his young Padawan. That would be like the evilest Sith duo. That'd be the evilest Sith duo ever. Yeah, Apprentice.
Oh man, can you imagine like a TV drama with Jerry Jones as president, where he has to press the nuclear button, but someone else has got his finger on it, and he's waiting for the commander to go, "Do it."
Oh God.
Oh man.
What have we become?
What else do we have? Lisa said it's a shit show, neither should be on the ticket. Preach. Kneecap Biting says Chuck Norris would be great with Clint Eastwood as his running mate.
That'd be like the most manliest thing ever.
Someone hasn't listened to Epic Rap Battles of History, that's all I'm gonna say.
You know, I want the Hoff to do it, the Hoffmeister. like just so he can
That-
drive around in kit as president.
Okay, we're getting a bit too close to the Simpsons movie here now, guys. Come on.
Marcus just sent Andy Reid as Jab at the Heart.
Oh, fuck! No! There's
Are
an
we doing
obvious
Star-
answer for Jabba the
Are we
Hutt.
doing-
There's
are we
an
doing-
obvious answer, and
are
I
we doing Star-
photoshopped it before.
Are we doing Star Wars characters now for NFL head coaches? We've got Palpatine, we've got Anakin, we've got Jabba.
Jonathan Gannon is Greedo
Yeah.
because of the eyes. The eyes.
I love it. I love it.
Mike McDaniel's the creature that holds Anakin hostage when he's young. You know, that little flying thing that just.
Oh god. Okay, so who's Jar Jar Binks in this situation? Who is Jar Jar Binks?
Salah?
No.
Maybe, yeah. So look, I list of current NFL coaches.
Oh,
Obviously the obvious one here, Jim Harbaugh's got to be Qui-Gon. Like, he hates following rules. He's like, he's like the wise guy. Like,
Yeah.
I get behind that.
niche head coach, niche character in Star Wars. Brian Dable was Wedge Antilles.
Oh yes, yes, like that. Oh, shit.
I'm pretty proud of that one.
I just look at who Sean Payton is.
Salah would be like the Mandalorian.
Sean Payton is
Give me the film and I'll probably.
So where's Dan Campbell in this? Where does Dan Campbell fit in the Star Wars universe?
I'll get there in a second. Sean Payton's Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's the eyes.
Campbell,
It's the eyes, yeah.
do you reckon Campbell would be like Chewbacca?
Yes. If anyone gets close that he doesn't like, he just attacks them.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's the strongest guy in there, and he'll just break you in half if you do anything that you don't like.
Oh, Kneecap Biting's come in with D'Amico Ryans as the Mandalorian, and I fucking love it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true. We could get behind that.
Oh.
See, I feel bad saying this because it is kind of a bit iffy. Tomlin as Mace Windu.
So who's Yoda? Gotta be the
Surely
all-wise
surely
man.
Yoda is Bill Belichick.
No.
The absolute goat who just speaks fairly boringly and a bit in
Yeah,
riddles
but he's not
when
a
he
Sith
wants
Lord.
to.
Bill's a Sith Lord. Like, Bill is nothing but he's a Sith Lord.
Bill is, yeah, but if Bill's a Sith Lord, then that makes Matt Patricia bloody Snoke somehow.
What about Yoda being someone like Don Shula then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Marcus has said Lamar Jackson is Darth Maul. CJ Stroud is Baby Yoda. What else have we got? Dan
Grogu!
Campbell is-
He's called Grogu!
He's not called Grogu.
He's Baby
Baby
Yoda.
He's called Grogu.
Grogu, yeah, grog is what you drink.
Marcus says DeAndre Hopkins is Jar Jar Binks. Kneecap Biting says Matt Canada is Jar Jar Binks. Bradley Mustaine says Todd Bowles is Jar Jar Binks. Everyone thinks... The thing is, Jar Jar Binks is massively competent in the Star Wars universe. It's just he sounds like a twat. So Matt Canada is the exact opposite of what you want.
Matt Canada's a stormtrooper.
So Jar Jar Binks makes lots of mistakes. He's clumsy. He just doesn't know what he's doing. Wouldn't that be Bob Quinn?
No,
I can imagine
no. Opposite, because he's got to be massively competent but sound like an idiot. Bob Quinn sounded like a genius but was an idiot. Wrong way round. Who sounds like a total buffoon but actually makes good decisions?
Oh, Guys, give me a sec. Because
We've not got an Obi-Wan here, by the way. Like, respected
Sirianni.
figure everybody loves.
Oh, Sirianni.
Because of because that opening press conference
Sirianni's
and
Jar
everyone-
Jar Binks. I love that. Okay, we've got to address the elephant in the room there, which Ant has adequately said. Who is Obi-Wan? And maybe we should have an old Obi-Wan and a young Obi-Wan, because they're very distinctive characters. They're just like...
See, young one is brash. He's well-meaning, but he's... I don't know. Not ready.
I love
Good,
Alec Guinness is an absolute genius.
Could Ben Johnson be Obi-Wan? Like, he's going to be the guy who...
Young Obi-Wan, for sure.
He's young Obi-Wan.
That fan man says Bill Parcells is old Obi-Wan.
And that's actually a good shout, that is.
I like
that's
that.
A good shout.
I like that.
What about... Who's the guy who's on Fox now who's won a Super Bowl as a head coach? Not Fox. ESPN, isn't it? Crap. First black head coach to win Super Bowl. Black head coach? Think so. Oh my god. Maybe he wasn't the first black head coach to win the Super Bowl. He was Tony Dungy. I think Tony Dungy as old Obi-Wan makes sense. Whenever you listen to him on... Is it ESPN he's on? He's a pundit for one of them, isn't he?
Yeah, he... NBC.
Is it it's Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Anyway, oh, for fuck's sake. Kneecap biting is just Pat McAfee's Han Solo. And I kind of get it, because he's...
Yes,
well, but the thing is, that's the reaction which makes it work,
is.
because Han Solo is a dickhead. But he's like a
We all
lovable
love him.
dickhead.
Yeah, he is. That is actually the best one of the lot.
That's a great shout.
That is a really good one there. Yeah, no, I've got to give him that. That is great.
Bradley has just said Giants and Jets Belichick is Anakin Skywalker, Patriots Belichick is Vader.
Oh, someone who was good who turned evil.
Penalty to Portugal, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, see, Belichick used to be good. He used to be a force for good in this world. Hell, he was even with the Lions.
I mean, you just saw the thing that's like, like, where was his first coaching gig? Just the other thing I was literally about to say.
I think this penalty is going to get overturned unless you're ahead of me, by the way.
Probably is. Like, I've just saw it because I've got Who Scored on Twitter and it says penalty to Portugal.
I mean, the thing is, because we're streaming, we're probably 40 seconds behind, so it probably has already been decided, but that didn't look like a penalty to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look. It's Diogo Jota on the ball, running to the area. That looks fine to me. Oh, maybe just stick his leg out. Oh, I don't want Portugal to go through. Yeah, it's a penalty. Damn it. Oh, Marcus was suggesting Jason Garrett as the guy I was trying to think of for the head coach that's on ESPN now, which would be accurate. Apologies. Yeah. Jason Garrett, what role would he be? He's Captain Panaka.
Someone who claps a lot. Isn't Garrett the clapper? Isn't Jason Garrett the clapper?
Yeah.
So he's Padme then. Well, sure she clapped for Anakin. Anyway, never mind. Oh no!
I'm trying to think who we've missed out, but
Ash hates me now. I mean, there's lots of peripheral characters. General
we've done the main
Grievous,
ones.
Darth Sidious, Rey. Obviously, female characters, that kind of doesn't help. But we haven't done Luke.
Oh yeah. Hang on, so we've got to do son of someone who's now evil. Oh, Bill Belichick's got a son.
Yeah, well, hang on a minute. If it's Bill Belichick, then if the arc works and we're in A New Hope right now, then doesn't it mean it's the new Patriots head coach in
Jared Mayo.
in Jared Mayo? Yeah, which I can kind of see as well.
He was the chosen one by Bill. Yeah, I guess so.
Kneecap biting just said Jason Garrett. He's
Oh, for God.
clone 98.
So I'm on the Wikipedia page for Luke Skywalker, and it says, for the rapper Luke Skywalker, see Uncle Luke.
I love it. That's awesome. Can I just say, by the way, for the benefit of the chat, and I've been really trying to push this on social media, but because it happens in my backyard, the greatest music festival in the world, bar none, happened this weekend in England. It's called Glastonbury Festival. You should check it out. It's on iPlayer. If you don't have access to iPlayer, you probably can if you use a proxy. It would have been on a BBC channel where you are on BBC Worldwide, but or whatever it's called, BBC World. But the performances were absolutely fantastic. We were talking about Coldplay earlier and Ant's hatred of Coldplay, but maybe that's too strong. But Dua Lipa was on there, or as one of the Welsh commentators for BBC called her, Dua Lipa. Fool.
Someone's just put a name in the chat, which is just so for Grogu, we missed Kyler Murray. Like Grogu's taller than Kyler Murray, but still, we can make it work. Very mobile.
Oh God.
Excellent.
See, now we've just got that scene where he's in the robot. Yes, no.
All we need now is a picture. We need a T-shirt with a picture of Grogu on it, going, "DeAndre Hopkins is down there somewhere." And
Mark said Kylo Ren is Kyler Murray. Don't see that.
No.
Kylo Ren.
That's why the Kyler Murray thing came to me. I saw him put the name there. I'm like, yeah, that's Grogu.
Kylo Ren. So if Pat McAfee
this is bad son of likable. This is bad son of likable person. So we need to find a likable person who's got a terrible child.
Well, but Han Solo isn't a massively likable character. He's a fun character, right?
I like Han Solo,
but he's a dick. Though.
I mean, we've got to put Justin Tucker in here somewhere. Evil guy who throws things or kicks things large distances, like that. Could be his version of the Force.
He is. Justin Tucker is that one Tusken Raider who does the shots during the pod racing.
Yeah. Yes, great shout. I love that.
Have you seen what's happened in the Portugal game?
Yeah. What about Justin Tucker being like Sebulba? Everyone loves Sebulba. Great guy.
And Kirby Joseph is the Snow Riders from episode 5. Because they took out all the AT-ATs at the knees.
Lol.
That is actually true. To take down one of those, you aim for the kneecap.
Exactly.
That's what they do in Rogue One, isn't it? They shoot the
and
kneecaps
episode 5,
of
yeah.
They shoot the kneecaps off them.
Yeah. Yeah, episode 5, I used to love Star Wars Rebel Alliance, where you used to have the thing where you shoot and then fly around. It was less automated than the current games.
Dan Campbell's, he's a squadron leader. They're just going in there going, go for the kneecaps.
I really want to debut my my new graphics, but I haven't got there yet with it. Carlton Wood says Michael J. Fox. So yes, Michael J. Fox was brought on to play guitar with Coldplay, which was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Kneecap Biting said this is so much fun. Josh Dobbs is C-3PO.
That's it. We're not done the droids, have we? Really?
R2D2.
That's another
Can't
category,
speak English, but is
potentially.
competent. There's a lot of England football players that would qualify as
Hang on.
R2D2.
We missed the very. I know. We said one for Chewbacca earlier, but surely that's Jason Kelsey is Chewbacca. Like that he is just
Yes.
Jason Kelsey is better for Chewbacca.
And he's always he was the underrated one of the brothers and in the team. He was the one that didn't get a medal. Justice for Chewie.
Yeah, and then Travis Kelsey can be Han Solo, who's a dick. So there you go.
And he gets to go.
And Taylor Swift is Princess Leia.
Princess
So
Leia.
there we've got an arc here, folks. Kelsey brothers and Taylor Swift are Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Leia.
Nick Bising says Aaron Rodgers is the high guy in the cantina. But it does remind me that we haven't picked a Lando Calrissian.
Oh, so someone who starts off as a traitor, but then you like. Oh, he's going to be very good with words. He's very smooth, isn't he?
Monty.
But he also made to try and make a pass at Leia. So who's tried to make it? Oh, we have Sam Laporta tried to make a pass. He had his campaign to get after Taylor Swift, didn't he? Not his own doing, but no, it was made on behalf of him. But
yeah, the thing is, Lando has never been a good character. He's always been a 50-50 character, even though he's lovable. So someone you like, but you don't trust.
I mean, we talked about having clones earlier. Dan Skipper's a clone because he's ineligible. So, we need Dan Skipper as a clone.
He became the Captain Rex.
Yeah, because the clones are actually very lovable. I love watching Clone Wars so much, the animated series.
Have you watched Bad Batch?
No, I need to. It looks really good, but
you really do.
It pulls at my heartstrings so much. Clone Wars does. I remember watching the movie years ago when they did the movie, and it was so funny. And then when they brought the series out, they're just so great.
Trying to think who Boba Fett is.
I would like to dislike Boba Fett, so it would have to be someone I dislike.
Because I was kind of thinking Aaron Rodgers for a bit, and then I kind of moved away from that.
No, Aaron Rodgers is the guy who goes up to Qui-Gon and goes, "You want to buy some death sticks?" He's just flogging his terrible non-ideal medicines, and yeah, that's who he is. Aaron Rodgers will buy some shiny death sticks and ingest them to see what they did to him.
Marcus just said Matthew Stafford is Princess Leia. Which I think is really weird.
That's really weird.
That's really weird.
The Chicago Bears are the Jaguars, overpaying for trash. See, I'm trying to work out in my mind who's Count Dooku. Because I fucking love Count Dooku.
Yeah, I do. That has to be respected. Christopher Lee is the gold standard of actors. He's on Patrick Stewart levels of reverence.
No, yes. Way higher. Way higher.
No. Patrick Stewart is
Patrick Stewart is in the one of the highest buckets. Maybe he's a roster cornerstone of players for sure, but I don't know. I don't think he's in the tier.
No, he moved into elite when he moved into adult cartoons and proved that he was not too serious for himself.
Well, for Family Guy
and American Dad.
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry, American Dad. I don't know why I said Family Guy. He's a great American Dad.
He is not above it. He will go and do Shakespeare on a stage somewhere, and then he'll come out with some of the most crass, offensive stuff. He is not too serious about himself. That's what makes Patrick Stewart elite.
My issue with Patrick Stewart, and the same with John Cleese, is that I've seen them make remarks where I think, I'm not entirely sure that you're a nice person. And that hurts me.
We're talking about actors here.
Sure.
Actors.
Yeah. But like, I
Because they're
want to
all
think that
terrible people.
they're all nice people, but then the way that Patrick Stewart called out, oh, fuck, Gavin and Stacey,
James Corden.
yeah, he called him a fat fuck, didn't he? In an awards ceremony.
I mean,
No, but I'm not saying he's wrong, but you don't say that. And Corden is a dick.
I mean,
undoubtedly.
Christopher Lee used to be in the Special Forces.
He was the inspiration for James Bond.
Yeah, he was
the only one of the Lord of the Rings actors to have met Tolkien.
Have you not seen the scene in Lord of the Rings when Saruman gets stabbed in the back and they do the interview with the director who said he was telling them how he had to act because he understood what a person did when they were stabbed in the back and how they breathed.
Yeah, you feel the air escape their lungs and not the other way around.
And the director's like, oh my god, who is this guy?
No, oh my god, this person has killed people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can poke holes in them all. I mean,
so that's exactly what he's done to other people. So.
You would have to, exactly. So if you're going for purists, Ian McKellen maybe. I don't know what if he is done out, but Ian McKellen's up there.
Ian McKellen is a special kind of special in my heart. He has got to be old Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He's not an NFL character though. An NFL character, stupid.
I don't care.
An NFL player.
Because now I want to bring up Sean Connery was my guy, man.
Oh, kneecap biting coming with Steve Mariucci as Lando Calrissian. And I am so here for that take. Yeah. Oh, what a shout. Marcus says Aaron Donald is the Rancer.
Oh, the Beast.
The
Rancor, the Beast. Yeah, the Beast from episode 6, yeah.
Not just from episode 6. See him before that, I think.
Yeah, but it's his first technical appearance in canon, isn't it?
I guess. Is he not? Is he in episode 5? I think.
You don't see Jabba's palace in episode 5.
Oh,
because he's in it. See, now I'm trying to stuck on my. Who's a guy who is really incompetent and only has a job because of his family?
Oh, I mean,
in Star Wars.
In Star Wars,
we know who is in Star Wars because we know who is in the NFL, but who in Star Wars? Who's someone who only gets a job because of his family?
Kylo Ren.
Nah.
We are not having Joe Barry as Kylo Ren. No.
I mean, Kylo Ren's only relevance is Dad's Han Solo.
What about one of the First Order people?
Oh God, yeah. The one that's played because it's Donald Gleason's son. Oh, Brendan Gleason's son, Donald Gleason. Oh, General Hux.
Yeah, I will hear no bad words about Brendan Gleeson. His man is a treasure.
Yes.
The guys in the chat are debating who Matt Patricia is, and Ken has come up with the garbage compressor. Unfortunately, that is the thing that gets rid of garbage, makes them smaller, so I don't like that.
He should have been the Jabba, because I remember seeing photoshops of Matt Patricia as Jabba the Hutt during his time here.
We need an Admiral Akbar as well.
No, I give an Admiral Akbar already.
It's a trap. Oh. Okay.
Said Sean Payton, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can see Sean Payton saying it's a trap as well. It's a trap.
Oh, God. Peyton Manning is Ki Admundi. Big fuck off forehead.
I actually don't know who that character is. Which one?
He's the one who, I was about to say the one who gets shot by all the clones in that, but a lot of them do.
No, so he's the one, you know, in the Jedi Council scenes, he's in the hologram that's just the bold dude with the massive...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Peter Manning!
Kneecap Busting says Admiral Akbar is Dennis Green, that's not a name that means anything to me.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, yeah. Dennis Green is a former Vikings head coach.
I kind of... You said that Grogu is going to be
Yeah.
Kylo Ren, but that infers that... Grogu,
Kyler
is
Murray.
Kyler Murray, not Kylo Ren. Kyler Murray. But the problem is with that is that infers that Kyler Murray is going to grow up to be Yoda, which I don't believe. I kind of like Kyler Murray, multiples of him to be the Ewoks.
Someone's
I was
asking
going for the younglings.
asking who the Cantina band is. We're getting quite far.
This is far too much audience interaction. This is great. Oh, I should build a roster of these guys.
We should just make a Cantina band out of all the corners that Amon Ra has toasted in his career from Minnesota.
That's a massive.
Amon Ra's cooked corner Cantina band.
You'll know. Okay, so I'm looking at Dennis Green. You'll know him from one of his most famous quotes. They are who we thought they were.
Hang on.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
coach just said that?
Couldn't Equanimous fall under the famous because of his brother Tab, but he's useless himself thing?
Yes.
Yeah, but I was looking for someone to be Joe Barry.
That could be Equanimous and Brown.
So Joe Barry is Equanimous and Brown.
Yes.
That's a bit.
Well, you wouldn't put him in charge of your defense, would you?
True.
Kneecap Bison says the Lions O-line is the Cantina band because they are awesome together.
True.
Um,
And considering the amount of kids
Oh,
they've
yeah,
had,
but you know what?
Kovacic.
So that would be the greatest thing in the world to have, like, them as the Cantina band, and then instead of like playing the Cantina band song, they're playing some Metallica.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the Cantina band playing Metallica, like Enter Sandman in the Cantina bar? How would that would just be like the greatest thing in the world ever. Like I would pay to go to that bar.
who's Jim Mora?
Oh.
Great what? Oh no, hang on. No, let's not put hate on Jim Mora here.
I'm not putting hate on Jim Mora. I love that guy.
Let's be respectful to Jim Mora here. I've grown fond of him in his Yukon days.
Kneecap Bison says Joe Barry is the guy that pulls the lever in the Death Star when it explodes.
Yes.
Moff Tarkin. Who's Moff Tarkin?
Grand Moff Tarkin. Oh.
And Grand Admiral Thrawn for that answer as well.
See, I really like Thrawn. Ben Johnson could be Thrawn.
No.
Because he's about the calculator. Because that's the thing with Thrawn. He's so calculated and analytical.
But that's why it was Sean McVay.
Can I just say kudos to everyone who's still here in the building here with us? So we've been talking now for 40 minutes about Star Wars characters as NFL guys.
You say that, but we've got Carlton Woods, who I think has cancelled the comment now, but said you should upload this video as its own discussion.
I can definitely.
Hey, maybe we're struggling for content. Like maybe do this, create universes of like we can do Star Trek one week and we can do Star Wars the next, and
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Brandy Mustaine just said Jim Moore is Han Solo, by the way. I kind of don't hate it.
Oh dear. I feel I'm just trying to think of who I feel like we've gone through nearly every character now. Like we're just
I don't know. I need to go through the list of head coaches.
Just short of the Ewoks, like.
You said that Kyler Murray is the Ewoks now.
No, and Kyler Murray's about 10 different characters at this point, all the short ones.
Yeah.
I still think Kyler Murray is Grogu. In fact, actually, that is true because they did what are the skits they do at Bleacher Report? Do the skits in season Gridiron Heights, and they actually did. That's probably where I got it from. They did a skit as Kyler Murray as Grogu. So
yeah,
that fits for all intents and purposes.
Oh, Matt Eberflus is Porkins. Oh, Porkins. I love that guy. I don't love Matt Eberflus. That doesn't work.
No, Matt Eberflus going with the grizzled. You noticed how he's changed his look this year. He's gone with the grizzled man beard thing to make him a bit tough and resilient. It's like, no, Matt, you're not fooling anybody.
Matt LaFleur is Keira Knightley in episode 1. Good looking, but does fuck all.
Well, we've all learned something today.
Everyone says how beautiful he is. That's like the one redeeming thing. Everyone goes, he's the best looking head coach there is.
I've got Lando.
Oh.
Go on.
Perfect casting. Someone that you quite like, but don't entirely trust. Doug Peterson.
Yeah. Rewind to when he took the Jags job, and I said he was carried by Carson Wentz.
Now you've said that, we need to find a role. You've mentioned a Jags head coach. Now we need to find a role for Urban Meyer in here. Like, he's going to be an evil guy.
Darth Sidious?
No. Sidious is the Emperor.
No,
like Urban Meyer. No. Urban Meyer will be Sebulba, because you know damn well Sebulba's probably hanging around underage women, like in his little entourage, whilst he's a famous car racer. Oh, for car racer, good lord, he's a famous pod racer.
No,
like
Urban Meyer is the monster in the trash compactor in episode 4. Tentacles trying to touch Leia. Come on, people.
Bradley Mustaine said that Sheila Ford is Leia, and I was gonna go for that angle before.
Old Leia.
Old Leia makes sense.
Yeah, General Leia, not Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Or could be Mon Mothma, which would be more in keeping with her, I think.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the remaining list of head coaches. See if there's anyone I like in any particular role. I could kind of see Kevin O'Connell as Han Solo. I low-key like Kevin O'Connell, and it really annoys me because there's something about him in the way he addresses press conferences, the way he deals with the press, where I'm like, I just quite like you. I want you to fail and I'd like you to be sacked, but that's not a reflection on him as a person. It's just the Vikings. Who would Brian Callahan or Dan Quinn be? I don't know. Anyway, should we call this? We've done this for over an hour now.
Yeah, probably.
Right, everybody, that's going to do it for us on this show. College Football Podcast Q&A tomorrow. Get your questions in, please. That would be great. We'll see you next week for the main show. There will be a quiz this weekend. Date and time TBC, though. I don't know when, but it'd be great to see you there if you can make it. It actually works really well. I'm happier with it than I thought I'd be. So that's great. Anyway, and Ash, great to chat with you for the last hour on this and the remainder of the show as well. Anyway, guys, we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Yeah.